so dangerous. I can't get ahead, and I've had enough. I'm feeling so dangerous. I get this feeling when I'm running on empty, like I'm on fire and there's nothing left to burn. The chance to blow it all to hell is so tempting. It's now or never, 'cause you never learn. I get up, I get down, kiss the sky, hit the ground. Don't know why, don't know how. I get high, I get low, I've got no place to go. Light my fuse, I'll explode. I'm losing my head, I'm all out of touch. I'm feeling so dangerous. I can't get ahead, and I've had enough. I'm feeling so dangerous. I get this feeling when I'm so close to breaking. I can't see straight and my vision blows. I get up, I get down, kiss the sky, hit the ground. Don't know why, don't know how. I get high, I get low, I've got no place to go. Light my fuse, I'll explode. I'm losing my head, I'm all out of touch. I'm feeling so dangerous. I can't get ahead, and I've had enough. I'm feeling so dangerous. I'm dangerous, so dangerous. I'm dangerous, so dangerous. I'm dangerous, so dangerous. I'm dangerous, so dangerous. I'm losing my head, I'm all out of touch. I'm feeling so dangerous. I'm losing my head, I'm all out of touch. I'm feeling so dangerous. I can't get ahead, and I've had enough. I'm feeling so dangerous. I'm losing my head, I'm all out of touch. I'm feeling so dangerous.
Good evening, folks. Welcome to day 2 of the NA Challengers Elite Stage 4. I'm McCormiel. Alongside myself is Seymour. We've got a great slate of matches tonight, starting off with UT Crew versus EastR. EastR comes into this at an 0-2 start. It's been a bit of a slow start for them here inside of Stage 4, comparatively what we saw in Stage 3, where they were able to win Stage 3 and obviously qualify for Stage 4. So looking to turn it around against EastR tonight, or rather against UT Crew, would be a huge step in the right direction. But it's got to start tonight, Seymour.
Oh, it has to start tonight, especially considering you're highlighting them falling behind and having to catch up with this UT Crew squad, a squad that's honestly kind of picking it up now that you see Slacked in place of Yeez and Methods coming in from Mage and Maniac. They're starting to see a little bit more success on their half. So EastR, you're really looking at them to come out with a strike here. They don't want to fall behind, especially in this NA Elite.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Stage 4, again, it's been full of struggles for EastR. I mean, the first game that they played, unfortunately, was an 0-3 loss to LAG. LAG, though, looks incredible, and they'll probably be at the forefront of who we expect to not only take the entirety of Stage 4, but really put themselves in the shining spotlight of one of the best teams, if not the best teams, inside of Challengers. But then you've also got to kind of, on the same kind of note, talk about the system as well with Zinx, Decimate, Fellow, and Zed. 3 players who have all been in and out of the pro scene throughout this year, and more importantly, throughout their careers. That's a great team that's had really a lot of challenges thus far. Both of these teams have paired up against the system, and they've taken both of them down. So with UT Crew having a 1-1 record, 0-2 for EastR, it's going to be a battle of titans that we saw in Stage 3, but not necessarily here in Stage 4 so far.
No, not at all. And I mean, this battle is going to ensue with, I guess we can talk about these maps here as well, with Checkmate to start this one off with a hard point. Following that, we get a trilogy. That trilogy is going to take place on raid between the search, the control, and the second hard point if we dare get that map number 4. And if it goes the distance to a map 5, that express search and destroy to close this one out. I mean, we're really looking at those 3 raids, though, to kind of set the pace in it. I mean, I feel like the Checkmate is going to be a good starter, but once we get into the raid, I mean, 2 to 3 is going to be such a warm-up for that map that control has potential for a big swing in the series.
Yeah, well, for the side of UT Crew, talking about them specifically, the maps that they've had thus far inside of Stage 4, rather the series, the system, they lost 0-3 to them, and it was a relatively close series, and it was quite misleading in that 3-0 score, because in the S&D, it was a round 11 where they lost 5-6, and in the control, it came down to a last life situation between both of the teams, and it was a 2-3 loss in round 5. So the hard point, 75 points was the disparity between the teams, and sure, you could kind of chalk that up and say, okay, maybe UT Crew is not the greatest in the hard point right now, but overall, that system was very close for a team that is 2-0 inside of Stage 4. When you look to EastR, it wasn't as close in terms of maybe the first 3 games, but it went all the way to a game number 5 where they lost on Express, and as we just saw on our map set, Express is going to be a game 5. So if both UT Crew and EastR push this one to that final map at Express, we know history tends to repeat itself, and hopefully it doesn't for EastR.
Oh, 100%. I mean, that system matchup between both of these squads is the most consistent. We're going to get to the matchup between these 2 teams. So when you're looking at that game 5 loss, it's a good opportunity to bounce back here. If it goes to that Express again, it would be really good, feel good going into the next week or the next set of matches for the NA Elite in this setup. But we've talked enough about the past. Checkmate, hard point for this map 1, EastR and UT Crew. Talk to me a little bit.
One person that's kind of struggled for the side of UT Crew a bit has been Dylan Rex in hardpoint specifically. Would love to see him be able to turn the entirety of his series around and the entirety of his stage around with a win here in map number 1. It would be huge, but more importantly, Sib opens the gate, gets the first kill for the side of EastR. It's a contest in the hardpoint for the time being, but with a couple of shots there, it will be the side of UT Crew who pushes through the forefront and gets control of point number 1.
And you can see Gravity in the back of the plane there. He's not going too far up because you know EastR wants to hold on to these spawns. So he's going to wait till his team gets back up, goes for the secondary challenge with the backup here. And inside that hill, UT Crew coming out with everything at the moment. And the final 30 seconds here looking like EastR wants to take one last jab at it, but they can't lose these spawns this time around.
Yeah, they get a crack through the front door. They're going to be able to find a kill up in towards top plane. But more importantly, again, to your point, you have to be making absolutely positively sure that you are rotating over and over towards P2. Because if you're not able to get that, you're going to lose all the time, not only from P1, but you're also going to lose all the time on P2. Allow UT Crew to build their lead. And then with Methods getting through the back, being the route man for the side of UT Crew thus far inside of game number 1, finding the second in a row. That's going to be the spawns for UT Crew over towards point number 2. And this could be a dangerous 50-second hold if they're able to get all the time.
Worst case scenario right there for EastR. Methods, the snake in the back of Garage. Gonna uproot those spawns. Now you look at this post position here. You see Dylan Rex setting up on the boxes. Finally taken down by Jerd, but he already did the damage. You see the follow-up from Methods and Slacked as well, too, in the feed for themselves. And EastR gonna have to make quite the journey back here. Gravity the farthest forward with number 7 to fight from Yellow. So Possession is gonna be on for a couple of seconds, but all of a sudden, Gravity, John, they both go down. And EastR almost shut out of this pretty much, so they're gonna have to look at this P3 and they're gonna have to make sure that they can convert some time here.
We'll see more. I said Dylan Rex was one to look for with the inconsistencies that he showed in Hardpoint. Thus far, 7-4, although it is early, he's been able to put himself at the forefront of this game, and that slang has really helped out with the SMG, specifically on Checkmate, which is a map that you would assume that the Krigs are going to reign supreme on. However, Gravity up in towards that left side of the plane. Gonna be looking for the shots on the drop down, won't be able to find it. However, EastR will find time in the hill. Surprisingly, only their first 5 seconds on point number 3. A minute ticked off the game clock, 45 seconds left on the third hill. Look to the 4th rotations here in a second, but more importantly, UT Crew, they've got to break into the Hardpoint.
And Rex, highlight player right here. Routing through that plane. Is going to go from the top ropes around to the left. Finds 2. Ultimately finds his death to Jerd right there. It's a good setup right now from EastR, as well as maintaining the mid-map control so that they can posture themselves from 3 to 4. But Slacks found his way through, unnoticed. Hops up on this wing, looking to get the 3rd in the feed for UT Crew, but nobody on the hill at the moment because of Methods and Phantoms. That's giving UT Crew that opening that they needed.
At least you get 23 seconds on point number 3 over towards 4. You see the north side of the map where that little key lock is where we're going to be heading towards next. You've got player number 1 and Phantom just trying to play the contestant towards P3. We'll spot the player out from behind, but it's going to be John that gets the best of him for the time. Double challenge towards the front of the hill. Methods with the first set of shots. We'll look for the second. Won't matter. He's got a teammate to help. All 4 go down. UT Crew. They've looked stellar in map number 1. And on this point 4 hold, they can just chalk this even further up and make sure they build that lead to over 100 points, Seymour.
I'm so glad that you highlighted Rex here, because I want to talk about John a little bit. And John, when he slows down for EastR, that's when EastR falls. And you can see him here. He's 8 and 10 at the moment. Not having the best start that you could ask for from a submachine gun on Checkmate. But really, you got to look at him against Rex here in the setup. And John falling means so much for UT Crew right now. And you can see that in the comparison in their scores as well. 118 to 24. UT Crew is running away right now.
All you got to really do here is just push through the north side, find yourself that left side of the map control, get the spawns over for P5, and you're all good. And obviously that's easier said than done, as EastR has started to, at least in comparison to what we saw for the first 4 hard points, turned on the Jets and get a couple of kills. But Dylan Rex still on 4, looking for streaks here potentially, but he's going to get caught out from behind. So John makes the great play, sniffs out the flank from the UT Crew side, but EastR still is not in the hard point, although they do have the spawns for P5.
This is where EastR needs to convert. 3 going down the feed. They're going to look to take some map control. You can already see John going to take initiative on that one. Some hot shots from Phantoms, though, to rip him off that. And with 35 seconds here, it's the whole thing with Checkmate in the second set of rotations. I mean, if you break these spawns for EastR, gain the rest of these time, I mean, you can connect some a big comeback here in the second set of rotations right away. So you got to look at EastR with this map control to push the line of scrimmage, basically, and try to get away with the spawns that UT Crew right now are holding on.
Oh, and Seymour, look at the scores. It's not necessarily a huge outslang performance from UT Crew. EastR's kept it relatively the same. EastR just hasn't been able to get any hill time, though. So although it's going to be crucial to get into point number 1 here, you still got 3 players locking it down and reinforcements on the way from the back staircase. Jerd loses a huge one to Methods. Dylan's going to be able to pick up the second. And I said EastR was struggling throughout the entirety of stage 4 thus far. In map number 1, the struggle's still very apparent. And it's going to come back to bite them if they're not able to not only take map number 1, but if they can't turn around the S&D, if this does go the distance for a UT Crew 1-0 series lead. Oh boy.
you're talking about Slacked for UT Crew as well coming into this roster. It's not just, even if he's not slaying out for this team, the amount of veteran leadership that he can put onto this roster is outstanding. I mean, if you have Methods and Raxus who are high energy players just out of their minds in a matchup, and then Slacked can just bring them back down to earth for that map number 2, and it's just the composition that Slacked will bring to this roster is going to elevate them no matter what you see in UT Crew. So I think that even if he's not slaying out, which he is right now, so that's something else to note, I think it's going to be a good roster, all 4 of them with Slacked on it.
Well, they save face. They get over 3 digits, so that's at least a plus for the side of EastR. UT Crew, 4 seconds is all they need, and they have rotations on over towards point 4. Methods with the Semtex and that long-range gunfight with the Krig. We'll find 2 and pair for a 2 spree, but again, it really is just damage control for the side of EastR. Slack will come through the back, find those last 2 ticks of time. They try to contest, but it won't be there. UT Crew, a dominating map number 1 performance. They'll take the series lead, 250-115 with a 1-0 start.
It's everything you can ask for as a UT fan to start off this series and heading into the trilogy of raids. I mean, with a dominant stance on Checkmate, once again, you're looking at Phantoms and Methods having as much of a presence as they had on Checkmate. Moving on into it, raid will have the same effect for the 2 of them, as especially moving into a raid search and destroy. Those 2 assault rifles, if they are hot on your tail, you're going to have trouble pushing into these bomb sites, mainly the B site with Bedroom and Garden.
No.
I'm really looking at the 2 of them to stay hot, especially when you're providing space for a player like Rex, and when he's feeling himself, it's just hard to take care of, and you saw EastR struggling against him.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's difficult when you have all 4 players from the side of UT Crew being able to drop 20 in EastR. I don't even believe they had 1 player. Sorry, they had 2 players. But again, like I pointed out early on in the game, it wasn't the difference of slaying between these 2 teams for the most part. It was just the fact of being not able to get until it's the hard point.
Yeah.
And so when you can't get in the hill because UT Crew is playing such good hard point as a roster, you really get reminded back in the day from World War II when we talked about TK. They barely ever slayed out their opponents in hard point. And obviously they'd have games where they would, of course, but when you thought of TK back in World War II, you didn't think of a team that was going to be flashy throughout the entire game, being able to, absolutely demolish the other team from gun skill. It was the way they placed themselves on the map, the way that they played throughout the entirety of a map together, and then that translated into the score, which allowed them to win multiple hard points, which made them one of, if not the best teams inside of World War II. So here inside of Stage 4, obviously it's a bold comparison to compare it to TK, but it's the same kind of play that we used to see in World War II that we start to see back again in 4 versus 4 from UT Crew that doesn't necessarily show up on the scoreboard, or rather the kills, but it shows up on the scoreboard. And they dominate map number 1. The S&D, EastR, you've got to turn it around. And that was one of the points I had for EastR. You have to start off in map number 1 and be able to take that hard point over UT Crew, because when UT Crew gets that first hard point under their belt, they're not going to lose a series 9 times out of 10.
And folks at home, what we're talking about is just fundamental Call of Duty. I mean, it's day in, day out. Yes, you can slay out your team. Yes, you can do that, but it's all about that objective in the end of the day. And if that objective isn't under your time, if it's not under your belt, then the other team's going to be taking the majority of it no matter what. And when you're referencing teams like TK, of course, yes, like Corn says, it's not going to be out slaying or not going to be like taking control of the game fully. It's map positioning, and that's going to translate from the hard point into the search and destroy. And you're going to look at these players who are playing that fundamental Call of Duty to make sure that they are slowing themselves down. That's going to come from their veteran in leadership, Slacked, on a team like UT Crew. And he's definitely going to be talking to Methods, to Rex, who are most likely hyping up their team right now, most likely just as excited as ever after a map 1 like that. And he's just been saying, okay, let's just do the same thing. Do the exact same thing into our search and destroy. Make sure that you are holding face and determining how they are going to push into you. And other than that, that's what I want to see in the search and destroy from UT Crew. I can't see them getting over aggressive off of the energy from that map 1.
Well, I don't know if I'd say they would get over aggressive, because again, they're a team that obviously played calculated in map number 1, but again, knows what it takes to get it done in map number 2. Of course, they lost to the system 5-6 in an S&D and that 3-0 that they had, but realistically, they could have won that if they had maybe just played a round or 2 better. But that was on Express. For EastR, talking about raid, search and destroy, they played the system. It was a 6-4 loss. Sure, it was relatively close, but again, it was that slaying department that really just did not show up in the S&D, which led them to a lot of rounds that they could have won falling flat and on their face. Now, I will say for Easter, when they played against LAG inside of Apocalypse Hardpoint, it was relatively the same results. It was close throughout the beginning of the game, and although it wasn't close against UT Crew here whatsoever, it was close against LAG on Apocalypse, and then it just all fell apart. And LAG took like 150 points straight. We were able to win the game, and it was just like, where the hell did Easter go? And there was no answer. So looking towards a raid, search, and destroy, although I would love to say, yeah, Easter's going to come out and play with a passion, and then they're going to be able to take this. I'm not confident that they're going to be able to win it, but it's definitely most likely going to come down to a 6-4 win for the side of UT Crew.
And if I'm going to see anybody for Easter to bring this one back, it's going to be John. Really, on my mind is this player into the NA Elites. We've seen him again and again just take hold of a map like Raid. He's the route man. He's going to be getting up in your face. He's going to be finding those sneaky spots on this map just that you don't expect. And if I'm seeing him get shut down once again by Rex in the search and destroy, that's going to be very detrimental to the scoreline at the end of it, because John on a map like Raid has a presence like no other. He's fast.
Yeah, absolutely.
He's slippery, and you won't expect him when he's behind you. And all of a sudden, that's going to be Easter coming away with some rounds. So really on my mind for this raid is, will John show up or not? And I don't want to put it all on him because I know that it is a team-based game, but really in my eyes, he is the X factor in this map too.
Yeah, he's the X factor, and you could also say the same thing about Sibilance. You know, when Sib doesn't play great, the team struggles. You could say the same thing about Gravity. Gravity being that AR for the side of Easter that you expect to have those great S&D performances and really be able to show out when it comes down to slaying and being able to sniff out the black players or the people that are getting aggressive and just picking them off right at the beginning of the round. That's what you want Gravity to be able to do. But folks, we got a treat for you real quick. I must say, there's one map that has come into the game recently and has been added to the S&D rotation. More importantly, as our live look in, Sobriety, built by gamers, or not built by gamers, excuse me, Sobriety in the system, my goodness. They're pairing off in a standoff search and destroy, one of the best S&D maps of all time, if not the best S&D map of all time. It's a bold statement, but for good reason.
Haven't seen this forever, Corin, so this is definitely...
Well, yeah, it's been since Black Ops 2, so I would I would assume it's been quite a long time.
We got Brack, Two Real, Emery, Spoof on Sobriety, Zinc, Zed, Fellow, and Decimate. Talking about system, like you say, just like LAG, Academy team. Just a team that is dominating right now and coming out of these players, taking these players on system right from the CDL onto their roster, just to throw together a team that you expect to look good on. But right off the rip in the search and destroy, you already see 3 go down for system. Zed's going to try to make it exciting, but ultimately Sobriety taking round 1. Beautiful plays from them to walk away with that first strike.
You know, he falls here to Two Real, but name a more impressive or a more iconic duo than Zinx and sitting in the back with an AR waiting for players to push up the map. Because you can't. Zinx is the backline of the challenger scene, has been for years, and that's one player that we consistently have to talk about as a talent that eventually is going to make himself known, not only in the pro scene, but has a chance to excel specifically just like Awakening as well. I mean, when you thought of Awakening, you thought of, you know, he could play the SMG, he could play the AR. He was a great flex player, and although it's maybe not comparable with him being a main AR and Zinx, it's a player that's going to get it done one day. Once he does, he's going to excel, and you can mark my words on that.
You take a look at Two Real here sitting underneath the truck. Fellas, not going to notice this right off the bat. I don't know if he spots his elbow there, but eventually he will, and Fellow's going to find first blood right off of that. And the rest of the players playing aggressive onto Tractor is going to find that one. That's going to be Brack, assault rifle on assault rifle. So we're going to even it up at 3. The bomb's going to rotate back mid-tank. And at the moment, it looks like System's setting up for an A-hit.
So far, offense has reigned supreme. Zed's going to be pushing up around the corner. Brack will find the shots. Going to hop back around the corner. Zed, once again, tries to fancy up the game just a little bit. Spoof's going to get some bad timing, and there it is. 1 versus 2. Zed couldn't get it done in round 1, but round number 2, you can bet your sweet ass. The second time around, he's going to make it stick.
And Brack, he tried to stand his ground here, coming out with not 1, but 2 kills off of that. It's just Spoof here, not realizing that that one-on-one went to him. The communication must not have been there for him to see, because Spoof had no idea Zed was that close to the bomb. And with that positioning, Zed just in the perfect position to give them that equalizer. So 1-to-1 on that. We've seen both teams go to the A site for this offense, and both teams come out on top for that offensive side, like you say. So really looking at the defense to make a change and take it to him on defense. Already Decimate doing that.
Comes down to those first bloods. Already off the rip. Oh no! Two Real! Fellow! Oh no! 1v3 for 2 real. A flashy play to start the round. Can you continue the flashy plays throughout the rest of it? Escapes with his life, but I mean, if you're the system here, you can just trap 2 real all the way in the back of the map, and you can see them already doing so. B's covered, A's covered, and if he flies all the way around to the gas station and back around towards mid-map street, I mean, sure, maybe he has a chance, but surely they're going to be able to at least recognize this soon enough.
With so much ego, not the weapon of choice for the situation, let me tell you, Corn, especially on this map. But he might get the better on Zanks right here, and brilliant trigger discipline as well. Sneaks his way by. No way 2 Real's gonna do this right now. They have no idea, and he's gonna go for the plant too.
He gets it down. 45 seconds left. Ziggs turns around, finds the shots. Now they're both going to be challenging here. 2 Real, you've got to be careful. You got the shots on the 1. Almost able to find Decimate 2. Doesn't come in, but my God, Seymour, what an attempt. You mentioned the trigger discipline, but that is how you play Search and Destroy, folks.
A surprise
that is how you almost
for
clutch
Zinx.
that. Oh.
A surprise for Zinx, and let me say, not a welcome one.
Seymour, that is fun. A treat on Standoff, more importantly, 2 Real being just a GOAT, really. That's all you can say. We are going to be switching back over towards the S&D for our main match here. UT Crew and EastR on Raid. 3-0 for EastR, so they've come out with a firepower with Sib finding 5 in a row. 2 more get some streaks. And we'll see more. There's one thing I must mention here. I thought UT Crew was going to have the momentum and be able to come out here and absolutely smack in the search, but it has been nothing of the sort.
Well, you talked about Sib, I talked about John, and really Sib has been that guy for this team, the it factor for the squad. So you got to look at him now. If streaks come on board for the EastR, looking to blow open this game. At the moment, a slow pace for UT Crew, looking for a mistake. Bomb sitting in mid zigzag, and Gravity with the right shoulder will spot this one out, but he is going to give up Kitchen, play even more passive than UT Crew. Bomb finally spotted out Sib, playing his life back to this rock. But now that they know where the presence is, and Phantom opens up with 1, you're looking at EastR to equalize, which they do, and react to this play.
That was a smart play by Sib. Knowing that you're playing for streaks, knowing that you've got your life there, but more importantly, getting at a middle map so you don't get collapsed on by 2 different players, specifically when you don't really have much availability for a trade from your teammates. Bomb's going to go down over towards A. Sib backs all the way off in towards the laundry room. And sure, it can make a play happen, but it's going to have to come quickly. Jer's going to have to find one in middle map. Shots there on the methods won't be able to fall. Wraps back to middle map, can help the rest of his teammates. They know they've got Slacked over towards that right side, but can they find the kill immediately? Slacked, shots up the top. What? They jump past each other. Jer finds the kill. Now around the corner. Sib and Gravity pair for the kill there. 1 versus 3. Phantoms across the map. Bomb's playing it for that side, though. Could be able to find the shots, but Sib, the wiser, challenges the water steps. They get the defuse. They get the round win. More importantly, they get a 4-0 lead.
And the awareness for where that bomb is planted as well. They give the defuse to Sib. I want to see if this gives some streaks. It does not, but anyways, the plant facing middle of the map, you're going to see the player hop onto the middle mid ring, realize that it's going to be basically a setup for those middle stairs. Sib realizes it, awareness is there, shuts it down. 4-0 for EastR to right off the bat. But we're hopping back in with sobriety and system. Nonetheless, we're going to put this one in picture-in-picture. And you can see Sinks in the final kill cam. After this, we will get to see the score as well. So as we switch sides.
You know, Seymour, I got to say, this has kind of been the tale for both of the games thus far. EastR and UT Crew. It's been lopsided in both of the games thus far for sobriety and system. It's been close. So, I mean, say what you will about both of these series, but sobriety and system, it's been a show. 2 Real's going to back off here. Offensive rounds, at least at the beginning of this game, were great. Same time, though, it's been 2 defenses in a row for both of these 2 teams. As 2 Real tries to push up the map to find that first blood, it is going to be Zed who drops the first. So the fly falls in spoof, 4 versus 3. Minute left on the clock here, Seymour. On a middle map with really nowhere to go just yet.
Not at all, but 2 Real's going to force the aggression, puts the bomb in a weird spot, right on that hay bale. Now 2-player advantage towards system. You see Brack making the play all the way back yellow, and he is going to open up with that pick onto Zed. So there's a whole route open. The only thing that's not working in your favor is the bomb, which 2 Real went off. Emery is now with some shots down onto that tractor. He's going to find one, but 2v1 ultimately as Brack does get, or Emery's gets traded out. So Brack here recovers the SMG, has the AR, knows where these players are going to be playing, and with those shoulders, Decimate and Ziggs are most likely going to back up and play off of this trade.
And Brack is such a smart player. Black Ops 4, we saw what he was able to do with that Midnight roster. More importantly, he's got the mindset for an S&D player. Wraps back off. Ziggs is going to be on that head glitch on the right side. Shots are there, but the kill can't come through. 3-2. System take the narrow edged lead, but as we look over towards the right side of things, EastR and UT Crew, nothing close to the sort. Sib-bound streak 7-0 here in the S&D is going to call in the artillery. Middle map will be cleared out. John finds the first blood. 3 versus 3. UT Crew trying to find the trades. Jerd will fall. So for the first time, UT Crew have an advantage, but here comes the Hellstorm at the same time. So pick what you will, but it's going to be 2-2 with the perfect cruise missile curve. And now a 1 versus 2 to win the game for the 8-0 Sibilants.
Sib says salut through the window and goodbye to that life. Is going to put 9 in a row now for a one-on-one. Phantom set up on that ring. Sib back laundry. And they both, I don't know if Sib shouldered him, but that is going to definitely not be the play that you would have if you saw him or not. UT Crew stay afloat here and show some life in this round, but the 1-1's going to go Phantom's way and put them on the board.
That would have been a storybook ending to the S&D right there. A 10-0 performance with a 6-0 sweep in map number 2 for UT Crew. Like, imagine that if that happens, though. As we look back over towards our left here, 1 versus 1. Fellow, Brack, shots on the Brack.
Ooh.
Brack, you can try to win it this time. You've got to get the defuse, but Fellow didn't be able to jump down. Last bullet hits. System, despite all odds, it was close the last 2 rounds, but they managed to get it done in crunch. 4-2, they take 2 rounds in a row for the first time in the S&D. And again, they're already up in the series, so I mean, we'll see what happens.
That was interesting because, I mean, there was 14 seconds on that defuse. Brack definitely could have gone for the gunfight instead of the defuse, so wondering the decision-making on that one, but 2 rounds in a row now for System. We finally see a break in these traded rounds, and the first 2-round lead, I'm pretty sure we've seen since since the start.
Well, no, it was 1-1 at the beginning, but I will say, Gravity and the boys get it done there. Well, I should say Sibilants and the boys get it done there in map number 2. They tie the series up 1 apiece. EastR in the S&D versus UT Crew. Something that I said UT Crew is probably going to have flying colors in. They flop hard in that map number 2. And, well, it's a 1-1 series as we get ready for a raid control in there. But as we look back, System, Sobriety, 4-2. Fellow pushing up the map on a 3 spree, looking for number 4. Is going to be able to get 4. Brack there for the trade. 3-3 as we go. 45 seconds left. You got to get the 2 kills and the defuse to pair along with it. Zinks over the top, long-range shots, and Ruiz helps out. Now Zed in a 1 versus 2.
And Zed not just having to force these long-distance gunfights with an SMG, but he has to get that defuse. So time is against him. And the unfavorable advantage, too, with the life count. Spoof going to cross all the way through the middle of the map. He's going to find timing onto Emery's as well, but not going to come out with either of those kills. Now, 17 seconds. You need 7.5 hit. That finds the one-on-one. Makes it onto Spoof right now. Diamante in hand. Not the gunfight you want to take there. Sobriety, 3 rounds in a row. Nope. They bring one back. My bad. 3-4 here.
Yeah. It's so smart, too. You have Zed running around between 2 different players, just playing cat and mouse the entire time. Sure, middle map player falls, but you have the player that's playing over towards that S&D site, and if he just peeks around the corner, he's going to be able to find the kill 9 times out of 10. Spoof, although he hasn't had a great game thus far, one of the most important kills of the game right there. Prevents the fuse from coming through, and more importantly, saves it from being a 5-2 game, 3-4. You can tie it up with a round win here on defense. And defense has seemed to be place to be for both of these teams the last few rounds. However, Zed's going to be able to get onto A aggressive. They're going to play this back with 2 players. They can double push it if they want to, but they've got to be careful because Zed does have the advantage here with the peeker spot.
Ooh, Zed is going to get some shots back on Emery. He's get the follow-up, the bait and switch on both sides. Zed's going to finally peek, but with Decimate coming out on top, it's going to be System taking the advantage here. Now Spoof, he's going to be caught up from both ends. A 1v2, 1v3. 2 reels found himself all the way in the back of the map. He swapped spawns with these teams. Passes player in the distance. Fellow has no idea. 2 real does it again. I don't know how he keeps getting himself in these situations, but Zed finally going to turn around and get this. Now both these players are going to collapse onto this last. Fellow groups up with Decimate. Going to be either playing for the bait and switch or just for the trade here. And it looks like they're going for the trade, but System's going to clean up nonetheless with a 1-on-1. from the teammate. 5-3 they go. They put themselves on map point and on the brink of taking a 2-0 series.
Yeah, and the thing was, is like, when Fellow was there, he found shots in the Macatureal, but wasn't able to actually tag him up, so he knew where the player was. He just didn't know if they were going to make a pinch play or if they were going to play together, so when you call that double back, that's exactly the play that cost Tureal his life, and more importantly, a chance to tie the series, or rather, tie the S&D at 4-4. So, with a 5-3 lead here, now you go on to the defensive side. Sobriety on offense. They won it the last time, but you've got to clutch it here. Basically, the series is going to live on this, because although a reverse sweep is always possible, it's not going to be really feasible against a team like System, where you've got Sinks, who's one of the best, if not the best, AR in the Challenger scene. 3 pro players essentially on the same roster. And well, as 2 fall to 4 versus 2 in Seymour, this is looking like it's going to be the end of a long road trip. We're going to be going to the next map.
Real 10-7 now has to be perfect in that last round. Not going to happen at all. Is the call for System. Run it down mid. Take those front-facing battles and just overpower your enemies. You see Zed leading the way here. The team shot's perfect. And that is going to be a 2-0 lead for System. But let's hop over to our mainstream teams here. Tie game 1-1 right now. Hopping into this control. I talked about it in the pre-game core, and I was saying that this map's going to be a big swing.
Sure.
As the judge for these raids. Now it's definitely going to, as they're 1-for-1 in the series count. So control is really going to break the ice in it.
Yeah. Well, for EastR specifically against LAG, it was an 0-3 loss on control on this map specifically that really did hurt them, but more importantly, ended their hopes at being able to take a map off of LAG Academy. Again, one of the best teams here inside of Stage 4. Methods, Dylan will pair for 2. Dylan starts the game on a hot 3-0. So, I mean, folks, if I need to mention once again, Dylan has been the X factor for UT Crew all Stage 4 long. When he plays bad, UT Crew struggles. When he plays well, UT Crew flourishes. So another situation where UT Crew has Dylan being able to start the game off hot, EastR struggling here on the defensive side, and although Jerd gets the Semtex kill, all you've got to do is find the rest of this A zone, you control it, and you got the round win already on offense, and that would be one of the quickest offensive rounds, rather the quickest rounds of control that I think I've seen in quite some time.
Absolutely split was the end there. EastR comes out with a big set of kills to keep them in this now. Life lead by 3. Time's at 2 minutes. Sim finds another one to slow down this attack, and Jared with his forward position, he's going to split them down by half, but immediately, instant death goes back and forth as 3 go down for EastR, so UT Crew getting some presence, going to be able to stop this clock now, but John taking up camp here in Art. It's going to be the first sites to take him down, which they do, but the follow-up from EastR so good, they clean off this site once more. And now, once again, UT Crew has to group up to get another shot at this A site.
Well, they've brought the lives down 14-11, and although UT Crew's been able to push up just a bit, EastR still continues to put bodies on that point, which has helped them out a lot. But as the last 2 players fall, this should be, a stack of the point and a round win. Dylan's going to push up just a bit. Sib's going to find that first kill, and as Dylan comes around the corner, isn't able to find the shots onto 2, it's going to fall. Slack the last one alive, the hopes and dreams of capturing the A zone in this push from UT Crew on the loom, and as Sib and John find the last 2. Now it's a mid-map control. 2 lives separate these 2 teams with a minute left. A lot of time to work it, but you got to be careful of EastR setup.
So we're going to respawn every single time you think EastR's out of it. Sib finds 3, and they're right back onto that point now. So UT Crew sent back to their spawn. A life lead by 3 once more, but EastR's on the brink of no respawn. So you got to watch out for that one. If they lose one character, they got no more on the site. As John, heavy awareness, is going to take out Phantoms from behind, making that wrap through basketball courts. You can take a look at the mini-map where UT is growing. A lot of one-on-ones here for each player, but knowing them, they're confident in these setups. Jared's going to be forced out of kitchen right in the midst of 2 waiting for him. So now 2 players left for EastR. You're going to look at the hunting party of UT Crew to finish this one off as Gravity gives up his positioning. The swarm's going to be in 19 seconds. They have to stop the clock at the same time. Meth is going to win out on his fight. UT Crew, very, I guess, chaotic round number 1, but they come out with it nonetheless.
I mean, it was a chaotic end, but I kind of got to ask you this, right? Seymour, like, so you find the last couple kills in the round to get the round win, and UT Crew, they're confident going into the control, being able to win the respawn like they were able to do in map number 1. But while you're finding those kills, and yes, you take the first round, would you have liked to see UT Crew with 1 or 2 players left from the side of EastR stack the point there to be able to give them more ticks for a potential defensive round towards the end of the game? Or would you want to have that last round 5 be on offense pending you get there?
I think it's preference for these teams. Offense and defense on a map like Raid, I feel like a lot of teams prefer the offense, whereas other teams prefer the defense. And UT Crew showing their strengths on offense early. It's showing that they don't mind going for the kills over the takes at the end of it. So I think it's hand in hand for any team, and for UT Crew, I wouldn't be too worried about that for that round 5 lot. That round 5 nonetheless.
Methods over towards the right side. Shots are going to be long and far, but John's going to be up close. Who's going to be able to win the gunfight up close? Who knows? But as the shots come through, John comes around the corner. Slack from above won't be able to find the kill. It's going to be Gravity there to find 2. My goodness, right through the car window. That's a hard gunfight to win most of the time, but Gravity works it with ease. Looking back towards middle map, you've got a couple players from the side of EastR trying to work it. Look at player number 1 in Phantoms, making the sneaky flank all the way through the back. This is going to give them the close spawn to A, but it's not going to allow them to push over towards B, and they're going to be able to read this instantaneously, knowing that they spawn there. Phantoms makes the wise move to wrap back over towards the water steps. Seymour, this is going to draw the attention from EastR back over towards bedroom, but it doesn't matter because he's not there.
He's not even doing anything. He just has to wait. He really just has to stay alive there, and that's enough because he trusts his team to come out with the kill, which they are. It looks like they're giving up this A site, but now with Phantom set up on that bedroom, it's going to force EastR to make the full wrap through jungle, take control of kitchen to get on the site. And even when they get onto the site, they have to worry about Phantoms inside bedroom. So everything looking good for UT Crew. As they spawn up at poolside, they're able to take another swing at this shutdown.
Well, Sib's not going to actually be able to spot out Phantoms there, so as Phantoms looks around the corner, shots there on a John will come through. Sib's still alive, can maybe find the player over towards bedroom, but it's going to be a long shot. Gravity pushing up. You can pinch this kill here onto Methods. Around the corner, Methods won't be able to get the best of Gravity this time. Another great kill for EastR. Allows them to get at least a bit of progress up towards B, but it's not going to be all that Oh my goodness, Phantoms somehow loses the gunfight to Gravity, and although Gravity finds his demise, UT Crew, that was their saving grace. That was their golden goose egg, because now with no players over towards bedroom, they can push straight through kitchen and be able to make this work while getting closer spawns over towards B.
Lives are even. Time's taken down, but you still got a minute 10. So not too worrisome for EastR, as they're going to be taking control of kitchen. John finds a big one-on-one, but now they're walking into the slaughterhouse. Methods and Phantoms both shutting down each angle from behind. 3 go down for EastR. John's going to have to stop this. Just stop the time for his team to respawn up, but Phantom's hunting. Jared gets taken out from behind. John still making himself known on this point, but Rex inside this basketball court is going to go for the challenge. Clean him up now, down to 55 seconds. No progression at all. 6 to 7 here. You have to say lives are going to be a big factor for this round.
Yeah, and you never want to go ahead and kind of point out blatant struggles for players on the map, but Jared at 7 and 15 just has not been able to find his way here in map number 3. 6 to 6 though. This is where it all comes down. The difference between 1-1 and 2-0, the biggest round of control. EastR, you've got to make this push work. Methods in the back finds the shots. 5 to 5. 30 seconds left. Down the staircase. Phantoms is there. Are you going to be able to read those spawns? All the way from the back. Gonna play that bedroom once again. Gravity down the staircase. One final time. Methods finds his demise. Another one is there in slack, but look at where Phantoms is. Sib's gonna push up, but he actually doesn't spot him out. So with 15 seconds left, Phantoms is gonna be up top. Nobody's really even close to the point, but now he knows that Sib's down below. Grass is gonna break through the water. Sneaky little fish. He's gonna be able to find the kill. One player left alive, finds the second shot. Okay, this is turned around on its head. You gotta get into the point, but it's not gonna matter. Methods won't be able to find the kill. Time expires. 2-0 lead. UT Crew. A daringly close round.
I mean, you talk about Jared having a struggle there. If he came out with those last 2 kills, it's out the window about whatever Jared's doing because he is the savior for that round. But nonetheless, you talk about Phantoms inside that bedroom again and again. It's not the first time either that we saw him up there. So you would have liked Sib to maybe clear that out before pushing the point, even though time wasn't in his favor. It's just a must. It's what you have to do if you want that win condition to be the objective. And I mean, Phantom just goes unchecked, comes out with a big 2-piece as he drops down from that glass, and it just really puts that round out of picture for EastR. Nonetheless, though, UT Crew up 2-0. You talk about that round 5 and how will those takes come into fruition? Well, EastR has to find a round to make that even a question.
Well, you mentioned pictures, so how about we go a little picture-in-picture sobriety system. Map number 3, system up 2-1, or rather 2-0 in the series, up 1-0 in the control. And while Decimate, he'll find 2 on the point over towards A, continuing to go ahead and get a couple of ticks of progress on both A and B. System on offense, they look great. The defensive push comes back, but we bring our attention right on back to UT Crew and EastR. The first tick on A is just about to be completed. And as Dylan Rex has found his way into the back line of the EastR spawns, they're going to spawn close to basketball court by B, but that's going to give the bedroom spawns to UT Crew. They can make their way up the map, but first and foremost, you got to find the gun kills, and you got to win those gunfights, because you can't win the gunfight, Seymour, you're not going to get on the point.
Oh, and Phantoms flank through Tiki. John's going to shut this one down. I think EastR plays that one perfectly as they understand what Rex was going for. The spawns towards bedrooms, red, and shut out. As John now taking space through the middle of the map. He's going to put some shots through Zigzag. Not going to go down as he feeds them right into Sib, waiting for them. Now 18 and 19 for himself. Backs on up, and now with 31 seconds, I think UT Crew really has to hit the drawing board and decide, do they want to go to A or B? Because they look really indecisive at this moment.
Looks like A is going to be where they're going to hit. The player that's trying to flank them from Art's going to fall. Dylan's going to push up onto the point. They've got to realize that everybody's coming from middle, and I believe they will. Unfortunately, though, it turns at the wrong moment. Methods is there to find one. Slack there for two. They've got 2 and 2 back and forth between the teams, but here comes Jerd. Finds the shots in the Methods. Slack has 5 in a row. Do you want to play those streaks, or do you want to play the point? It looks like it's going to be the latter. And for now, Dylan's going to find the shots over the top, paired up with Rex, but as everybody starts to fall, Method's the last one alive. It's not madness, it's sibilance there. 3 in a row. EastR will find their first round in the control, but will it be a little too late, or will it be looking like an LAG control where they win 2 rounds in a row and then somehow get to a round number 5?
Could be the case here, and I think UT Crew noticed that one of the players on EastR was going for straight. You can see they didn't want to hop onto the point because they didn't want to feed any more kills towards these players. Still comes out with a full wipe nonetheless, but smart plays from UT Crew to think for the long run instead of that short 1-round win. So now we're heading into a round number 4. EastR finds some footing here, a spark in their feed. And at the moment, I mean, you can really tell. You talked about Jerb falling behind 15 and 19. Yep. He's found himself back in 1 round.
Absolutely, and that's the single reason that they were able to go ahead and find that last round. Obviously, there's more factors to it, but the slaying numbers really do help, specifically when trying to play on that defensive side. Now they've gotten the entirety of B and the north side of the map locked down for themselves. Spawns for the side of UT Crew coming up the laundry side of things, and as Jerd looks on the back staircase, Phantoms is going to start to push down. Knows the player's there, challenges 1, trades out the second, and now it's all up to John. 1 versus 1 against Rex. He'll find the kill. Sibilance looks for Tiki. Backs off. But as I say that, Seymour, the biggest thing here, you play over towards B, you split UT Crew's defense, and then you spawn close on the ramp over by A. You cap the entirety of the zone. You give yourself an extra minute, and it changes the entirety of a round.
I mean, A's done and dusted just like that. 2 minutes and 10 seconds on the time bank as well. Like, everything flourishing right now for EastR. They're going to make the full flood out here. Gets the 1-for-1 onto Slacked, but still having 2 players back there, so they're going to be able to take control of the jungle spawns. It's going to force UT Crew onto the pool side, and number 3, Rex, notices that, pushes into the bedroom. We talked about UT Crew last time on their defense, so that bedroom was what shut down EastR again and again, so you have to pay attention to that player. I know all these, they're getting all the wins towards the basketball court, but now the spawns are going to come in. This is where Dylan Rex is going to fly out, but Gravity's going to shut him down right away. Nothing comes from it. Would have been big.
I love the plays that you make through the kitchen, but if you're EastR there, you've got to put more pressure into the players from the backside spawn that are starting to push into the kitchen, because sure, you can play money and find your way out in a cutout. Maybe it's a bit nitpicky from me here, but I would love to have seen them maybe push out the back and force spawn UT Crew even further out towards that south side of the map by Laundry, and then allow EastR just to push up that north side right onto B. Sibilance opens the door, though, cracks the code, finds the first kill. Dylan is there. They go 2 for 2 trades, and now as John pushes up, it's going to be another attempt that falls flat on its face for EastR, just because of where UT Crew has been able to set up. And once again, now you look at a player from UT Crew who's pushed all the way up in towards bedroom, whether it be top or bottom, it doesn't matter. You're going to spawn EastR further away from the hard point, going to make it a harder journey in a 1 versus 1 there with Phantoms on the tree head glitch. You're not going to win that 9 times out of 10. John around the corner can find one, but once again here, Seymour, it's just EastR not being able to win those gunfights, the crucial ones that really decide the moments in the game.
And as long as the lives are even, your UT Crew, that's what they're going to want, because you're forcing EastR to waste time by making those long rotations, checking these corners. Slacked once again in behind. Free kill onto Gravity. Sib, the farthest one up inside bedroom. Also going down, Mr. Slacked himself on a 5 spree. As they say, that gets cut down. A little bit of a caster occurs here, but it's going to provide an opening for Rex to shut this one out. Looks like it's going to be a 3-1 victory for UT Crew as EastR just running to the hill, but not able to touch down on that. And exactly like you highlighted, it comes down to those one-on-ones at the end. They got to win their gunfights if they're going to be making these rotations like this all the way into the back map. Waste so much time. You need something to come from it.
Respawn struggles continue for UT Crew. They were able to win the map number 4 last time when they played the system to force a map number 5, but unfortunately that's where they lost on Express. They're going to have to do the same thing here and take a raid hardpoint to get into the Express search and destroy. But as we take a look, Sobriety up on the system, 2-1, fighting for their lives in this series. The last map that they can start the reverse sweep on. And this fellow starts to march forward towards Lights. They're just going to go ahead and control this zone. Brack will fall. The rest of the players in tandem will also follow suit and drop dead like flies.
And it's going to provide system. They're going to stack this point now. Get as much as they can towards B. Emery's last one up is notices he has time to work with before making this hit. So he's going to give it the second tick. Wait it out. Fellow's going to be the first one to challenge it, but he is not missing at the moment. And he is about to back up the trophy systems. Everything going in his favor. Progression's still here. Fellow's going to push it now onto Brack. Brack runs away from it. Still going to fall now. Stacking the side, 2 of them. You give up green control, but everything on B is going your way. They're going to push this a whole minute farther into this attacking side. And System's looking to force a round 5 now here with 22-19 life lead. 2 minutes in your favor. It's looking good right here for the attacking squad, but we've seen this again and again on a map like Garrison and how fast it can fall out of your favor. But with 2 kills going down, 3 kills going down, System might be running this one out of hand. Fellow, what are you doing? 6 in a row, gets himself streaks.
2 ticks of progress over towards A, trying to tie this up at 2 apiece, and that'll do it. They're going to cap zone A. We'll see around number 5, the System in Sobriety. What has been a fun series thus far. Close games all across the board. Map number 3 delivering the same amount of pleasure for us and the people watching at home. Decimate, play of the game. But I mean, Seymour, you look at one more round on the defensive side, it's going to be Sobriety. System's going to have to push once again on offense. But with Fellow being on 6 in a row, I got to ask, right? Besides maybe the knowledge of the game, would you go ahead and say that, I mean, from the movement that we saw there from Fellow at the end of the round to go ahead and cap that point, is that the most important part of Call of Duty right now and where the biggest skill gap comes from?
I feel like it has to be. When a player like Fellow can be slaying out like that, you know he knows where to look. You know he's a practice player, and that's what got him on that Dallas Empire roster. And honestly, when you're looking at a player like that to make those big plays and you trust him to get the gunfights as well, he's not going to fail you, especially the NA Challenger elites here. He's a player that you want on your roster again and again, and he's really showing what it takes to be the best.
Bracken top green making a great play on the defense there to go ahead and find those shots, but more importantly, the kills to keep the side of the system at bay on this offensive push. However, as Zed pushes up, he'll find his demise. So Ruiz down below, just going to be barely spotted out, but it's going to be enough for Zed to find that second in a row, make it 3. This is going to be out and in over towards the A zone. Around the corner, player number 2 is there. And just this little bit of a change in control to allow this top part of the staircase to be available for capturing zones has changed the entire complexion of what you think of when you think of a Garrison control. They haven't even got all the progress over at B, but Sobriety has just chalked it completely. They know they have a 3-on-4 over at the point because there's still a player capping B, but an extra minute will be added, 23-22, and once again, you can start to make this push all the way through Square and into Kabul, because that's what made it work the last time, and that's what got you the offensive round win.
I love the way that System played that, and I'm going to highlight that later, but right now I want to see if they can follow through with this. They already got to take to A. They've capped B. Another minute 15. We saw Fellow and how fast he can put this one in the coffin for him. Still has the cruise missile as well, so if you drop all your players, you're going to be looking at him to invest that immediately to clear out these Sobriety players and give some spacing with these streaks. But Decimate making a move towards that back tank is going to get rid of 2 real, give some openings to this routing on the side of System. And if he can come right away with him again, which he is, this is everything now going over to waste System. They're going to collapse on him, finds a second one. You're looking at green control and bricks to be the pinch from this squad. And as Emery's last one on that point is going to come up with that kill onto Zed, he's going to leave it in towards the attention on bricks. So he shuts down one half, shuts down the attack.
Pinch play came through. Southside spawns for System. They're going to be looking back towards Lights, but unfortunately the timing there for Fellow is going to be in the way of too real. We look back over towards A. We draw your attention to middle map for one more potential gunfight here, but as they slide out over towards the satellite, Fellow's going to invest the cruise missile, finds the first, going to swing it into middle map, finds too real as well. There go two. There goes the flank play, and there goes the pinch opportunity for Sobriety as well. Now Decimate, you can push forward. You've got 2 ticks over towards A. You find the kill, you find the shots. Your teammates aren't there, but Fellow is there for help from above. Semtex there, stun there. All the players left from Sobriety are in towards the hard point. Decimate, can you find both the kills? No, but the reinforcements once again. You get into the point. M. Ruiz is there. Shots out of bounds. 22 seconds left. 10-9. Zinx can't find the kill, but M. Ruiz surely can. Fellow, the last one here. A 1 versus 2 out onto the point. Will recollect. They've got one more good push with 15 seconds left.
1 is all it takes, and we've seen it from the System squad. Decimate a little bit too fast. Spoof gonna get the better of that trade, though. You do see Fellow making his move through bricks here. Last chance for System to hop on this, or is Sobriety gonna start their comeback? Zinc stops the clock. He's gonna hop up from that platform, shot down by Brick. 2.2 seconds. You have to touch step 0.6 now. Sobriety's gonna shut them down and come away with this win on map number 3. They're gonna keep themselves alive against System here, and we're gonna see a game number 4, Corn.
Game number 4, reverse sweeps, hopes and dreams, still alive. The clutch game 3 performance right there. That was a flurry, an absolute flurry of everything. I mean, that was one of the most chaotic pieces of work I'd seen over towards that A satellite in quite some time, but more importantly, folks, we've got a series on our hands now between the System and Sobriety, but UT Crew up 2-1 over the side of EastR here. And if you guys want to catch the main stream over at youtube.com/COD Challengers, oh, Seymour, I got to tell you, there's a great game going on over on that channel right now. And if, folks, you want to go watch it, that's BBG and the Trash Bros.
That's
BBG
but
and the Trash Bros.
You gotta go tune in and see that one. But I want to kind of focus on that Sobriety versus System matchup, because that last hit there, it was so smart from System, even though it didn't fall through. And it's something to highlight from the squad that almost gave them a chance. You saw 2 players push out to that platform cruise, start gaining progression at A, and you had 2 players push the B site. So you're getting progression at B and A. A smart move from System, because it forces the side of Sobriety to push the A site, the site that you want to hold onto when you're on defense, because it's a site that you can ultimately fall back on and basically lock down for the rest of your time. So you saw Sobriety group up as 4 and then collapse onto that A site. Exactly what's going as planned. The whole thing with that System that they were looking for. You saw Zed got that 1 tick in at the A site, backed up into green to maintain control of that half of the map. And really, it's because it's all that they needed. All that they needed was that 1 tick to back up into green, maintain that control, and it gave System just that chance for that attack. Ultimately, they don't come out with it, and it's because Sobriety slow down the gameplay. They get one good pick, and then M. Ruiz comes out with some big one-on-ones towards that radar. And it was just some good gunfights, some good one-on-ones. Sobriety stay alive, and they maintain this map in their series, basically, against System.
Yeah. Well, 2 things, right? So, number 1, I apologize beforehand. I said BBG was going up against the Trash Bros on the mainstream. No, they are taking over our series that was supposed to be EastR and UT Crew. So, if you guys want to watch that series right now, go over to youtube.com/COD Challengers. They're going to be going ahead and covering the UT Crew versus EastR matchup. And point number 2, which goes and pertains to the series that we're watching right now between Sobriety and the System. Sobriety Gaming, they are all 4 players who have not yet competed inside of the Challengers Elite Series, whether that be Stage 1, 2, or 3. Their first time is here inside of Stage 4, with 2 Real, Brack, M. Ruiz, and Spoof all getting their first qualification into the Elites here in Stage 4, which is surprising to a lot of people given the names and the roster that's on paper, but again, even though maps number 1 and 2 didn't go their way, they were close. They finally get a little bit of a sweeping edge inside of map 3. We go to a map number 4 where we'll be seeing Garrison once again. This is an opportunity not only to push to a raid, search, and destroy, but more importantly, potentially win a series against what we would kind of consider the best team inside of Stage 4 currently.
And it's what you're looking at. I mean, you basically match up LA Guerrillas Academy teams to the System, and they're at the top of the peak. So you force that game 5. Even if you force that game 5 into it, That's a feel good moment for this team. I mean,
Yeah.
go in the challenger league. It's your first time qualifying, and what more could you ask for than taking down a squad like the system? So you're looking at this map number 4, even with the EastR and UT crew. You're looking at map 4s for both of them. And like Corin said, head over to youtube.com/challenger elites for that matchup between UT crew and
youtube.com/COD challengers.
COD challengers. Pardon myself. But
No, I just wanted to make sure.
Yeah, no, exactly. But let's focus in on this sobriety versus system match in this game 4. Talk to me a little bit about it, Corin.
Well, I mean, realistically, from what we've seen in the first 2 to 3 games now, system is better in every way, shape, and form. There have been moments where sobriety have been able to show their power and show where their strengths are, but again, I think it was a lack of getting off to a good start for the system in the control that really shut them down there, because we saw, at least in our first look in, where sobriety had that early on lead. They were able to carry that into that round 5. And so once they were able to go ahead and then eventually find themselves with the win in map number 3, it's going to give them momentum going into map number 4. However, with Zinx, Decimate, Fellow, and Zed, comparatively to 2 Real, Brack, Ruiz, and Spoof, both teams, there's no lack of firepower because there are pro players on both of these teams, no matter which way you look at it. However, I think if there's one team that reigns supreme in composure, it is the system, and that is why I'm giving them the upper hand advantage on a Garrison hardpoint, and especially after what we saw in map number 1, it was huge. And well, Zinx is going to find a 2-piece basically to crack open the game for us. So the system on the left, the sobriety on the right. System has gone ahead, got themselves off to a nice hot start. 20 seconds left for them for scrap time, and well, they're going to be rotated over towards P2 as well.
A whole sea of red of system players taking over there. You're going to see Fellow look to put the cherry on top now, set up for this green control as well. What a play from himself as he's hopped from the SMG from control to the AR here in your hard point. You're looking at a player like him, like you say, to keep the composure for system intact and make sure that they are ready for this game 4. Decimate on a 5-spree off-screen, makes it 6. Looking for streaks now right off the bat. We have not even hit 40 seconds on the clock for each of these teams, and system's already on a streak here as Decimate has chances to just give more to the arsenal of this team.
Well, Decimate, he's just that guy,
Exactly.
He's just that guy. and he starts out saying, and that's one of the things about hardpoint too, or really any game for that matter, you can have those streaks that start out at the beginning of the game and then sets the entire tone of what we see. And for the side of the system, Fellow now will go on 5. So you've got 11 in a row. Now make it 12 in a row. And as Fellow falls, it doesn't really matter because Decimate's going to go ahead and find himself not only the artillery barrage, but the cruise missile. 8 in a row will find his demise, but you've already done enough damage. You've got the utility in the back pocket, and you've gotten yourselves on over towards that rotation for point number 3. So realistically, Seymour, between these two teams, it's no contest of who has the momentum early on in this game.
Mr. Homelander can do it all. He's got superpowers back here, and you can highlight him all you want, but you can also highlight the rest of his team system as they have taken over these P3 spawns. They're going to get the initial time as well, and looking across 100 points before Sobriety can find 20. Decimate looks to push out to that platform. It's going to be a team kill from the nade. Spoof keeping his team in it. Another kill towards Tools. Trophy system is going to keep him back for a short amount of time, but setting up for this pinch from the front. 2 Real going to be supporting him as well. Brack goes down. 2 Real out of it. And suddenly, this attack is really nothing from Sobriety. With the last 25 seconds, they have to start looking at a dumpster.
Yeah, well, Mr. Homelander might not be able to save planes, but he can more importantly save a map specifically for the system here early on. We're up by 100 points on the side of the system. Sobriety, you've got to turn yourselves around specifically on point number 4. If you don't, you're allowing system to run away with the entire game and the series. After a really, really, really good control that you just played in map number 3, it just seems like everything is kind of fallen apart in a different game mode here on this map. And as Fellow finds 2 with the help of Zinx, it is going to be Spoof who finds the initial trade. But will it be enough to allow them at least an opportunity to get on to point number 4? The answer so far has been no. Zinx up top will find the shots onto Brack, but unfortunately can't find the full kill. Fellow is there once again, finds the shots, but not a kill. He'll fly up onto the point. Trade should be there soon, but with a contest on the loom and only 20 seconds on the board for Sobriety, this one is getting run away with, and it's quite literally out of hand.
Corin, System is
Seymour.
3 points away from 130 points, and with 2 real finding that kill is the first 10 kills that one of these that a player on Sobriety has found, as they're not just being out-rotated, outclassed, but they're being out-slain as well here. Sobriety struggling in all factors on this map as Fellow from the top ropes with a second kill just like that. Look at this Superman on top of Homelander here. Fellow, the guy who can really do it all here in the elite qualifiers, looking for a little bit more, gives himself 3 before dropping to Emery's, and a sudden shot of life for Sobriety to hop onto this map, but things are looking out of hand. They need something fast to help this spark.
Well, they've got themselves 3 quick kills. Now make it a 4th. 45 seconds left on the clock, so you can get yourself essentially a full 60 here if you can keep Sobriety in the spawns. Again, that also comes down to actually keeping Sobriety in the spawns. But as Desi finds one there, Fellow and Zinx pair for another 2. Excuse me, Fellow and Zed pair for 2. That's 3 down. Spoof, the last one alive at the hard point, was the last active player alive for the system. You got the reinforcements coming through, but you got to get through Fellow's Krig first, and we know that's a tumultuous task, specifically for anybody in Challengers who has played him beforehand. And as Sobriety has continued to get themselves back and towards this hard point and recuperate at least somewhat of a game for themselves, does not look good throughout the entirety of it, and the system continue to fly forward and push on.
Well, back into this first set of rotations, a 100-point lead. Let's take a look at the history for this matchup. It was P1 and P2, where you saw a really significant build on system, and it was really because of Decimate. He went on a spree. He got streaks. We haven't seen those streaks be used just yet, but because of that is mainly why they have a 100-point lead. And you look at Decimate snuck his way all the way back into floating tank, and he's looking to shut down these players as the cutoff. And he's all the way in the back here. He's just hunting them from behind. He does not let go of his analog stick. He's just running and running and running. What does he find? 2 kills to kind of pair up with it.
Oh, and he finds the hill time as well. So not only does he basically get themselves the spawns over there. Oh no, Zinx almost turns on Emery's there, but finding 2 kills at least allows them an in to get in towards the hard point. But I will say, the name, the system, self-proclaimed, but I think they've earned the title thus far here in Stage 4. Have not dropped a series thus far. Look to take their 3rd here with a demanding hardpoint victory in map number 4. Here comes the cruise missile from Decimate. We'll find the first one, at least here shortly. Going to be able to curve this one in over towards Cabo. Should find the demise here, but at least finds information. They're going to get in towards this hardpoint. They're going to be able to get these initial shots in, but the system, with the head glitches and the power positions, they'll hold on at least for the time being.
It's something to highlight there from the setup that we saw from the system, and if it worked, it was just to show that they have planning here for these points, and they give up the spawns, and that's because they want those streaks to force Sobriety off of this point. They want those streaks to give it up back to the system, but it's not going to happen at all. You lose both of those streaks on it, and you found nothing from all that. So all that planning comes out flat, as you're going to see Sobriety start to gain the most a significant amount of time here on P2. 2 Real's going to be dancing around this radar as 2 players ahead of him. Going to take one-on-one with Decimate. Goes with a shot punch as well as his buck, and goodbye, Fellow. That's going to be the point. The rest of the scrap time here for Sobriety. They're going to look to wrap to P3 as well, but it's a race, as you see north and south spawns for both teams.
Gonna go ahead and add in real here quick, folks. If you have not been watching any of the UT Crew or EastR match on that actual main stream at youtube.com/COD Challengers, UT Crew, they win the series 3-1 over EastR. EastR drops to 0-3. That marks even more struggle for them here in Stage 4. And after winning Stage 3, it's just so weird to see the same roster have such struggles just one stage later. It's honestly just discombobulating. Like, I'm struggling to kind of understand what the struggles are on that team if they can't figure it out in the next, 4 games that they have to play in the round robins. They're going to get relegated out of the elites and have to qualify again.
Well, sometimes you just have to quote some wise people in COD and just notice that COD is a day-to-day game, and the changes that you've seen around them, system coming into this as well. Most teams making significant changes to get into this, as EastR not able to keep on pace either, and we're about to see system here just continue their domination on Garrison. 218-99, folks. Can hold on to this 100-point club, but Sobriety does not want to let that happen at all. We are going to cross triple digits on their half, as Spoof setting up forward positioning as well, looking to trap system back in these P3 spawns here. You see him continuing his terror on a 3 spree, 24 and 20. And honestly, so the system, they break back in, but you can win off this hill. So you have to be worried if you're Sobriety. So you have to go for another hit.
Well, they got to go for another hit, but more importantly, you got to win the gunfights initially, as I said beforehand. Bracken Emru is fallen. Seymour, I got to say, I like how you said folks. The inner Canadian is really coming out. And it's kind of cute.
You like that one. You like, you know,
I liked it a
caught,
lot, I'm not going to lie.
you know, it doesn't, I usually don't get called out on that, but sometimes I'll notice it when you say folks, and it's just, it happens. It happens. What do you expect? Like a Canadian talking like a Canadian here. I did it just for you, Corn. I hope you know.
You know, I appreciate that. I really do. Is that hot tub idea still up for grabs? Anyways, doesn't matter. System 3 seconds away from going ahead and taking this game. Decimate, Zed, Zinx, all finding 3. There it is. Last second off the clock. The System continue their undefeated spree here in stage 4 with a 3-1 win over Sobriety. Map number 4 is theirs. 250-109. A commanding series, a commanding lead, but more importantly, they're at the top of their class right now. It's out of stage 4.
And they're teaching that class, as a matter of fact. Decimate, after that whole spree.
Is it a master class? Is it like where Gordon Ramsay does his stuff on there and, you know, cooks up some
class?
Hey, oh.
It's an elite
How much
class.
is that? I'd love to I'd love to learn. My old days on the controller are outnumbered.
I would like to take that class too. You know, that's why keyboard and mouse is my thing as well. I just can't stick up to these players either. But we talk about Decimate there as a player. We talked about players like Rex and John on UT Crew and EastR throughout their matchup, as well as taking control of these games. Well, he's from start to finish. I mean, 29-17 to finish off that Garrison matchup, as he never let go of them. I mean, backing up with a player like Felony as well, you know, you see that flex capabilities in both that control and the hardpoint come into fruition. I mean, he had this the AK-74U in that control. He was making big plays. He had the Craig in the hardpoint. He continues to make those plays, and when he found a 74U, he was completely comfortable with it. So you're just seeing the elite from this squad, as they are definitely teaching this class for quite a hefty price.
Folks, UT Crew over EastR, a 3-1 victory. Same thing here. The System over Sobriety, a 3-1 victory. Both teams will go ahead and improve their records here inside of stage 4. Next up here on the community stream, we've got the System versus Built by Gamers with a live look in to Trash Bros versus LAG Academy. We hope you'll stay here with us on youtube.com/IHoldShift. I'm McCormiel. That's Seymour Casts. We'll be back in just a minute.
kind of a pity. You say I'm missing out, but no point in trying to fix what ain't broken. No words to speak that haven't been spoken. No one can tell me who I was meant to be. I said, take me back down to the water. Don't make goodbye any harder. Don't make it harder than it has to be. This place was never meant for someone like me. Don't slow me down. I don't want it. I never took you for granted. I only wanted time. It seemed to me like you had it. You don't, but that's fine. There's no point in trying to fix what ain't broken. No words to speak that haven't been spoken. No one can tell me who I was meant to be. I said, take me back down to the water. Don't make goodbye any harder. Don't make it harder than it has to be. This place was never meant for someone like me. Don't slow me down. I don't want it. There's no coming back for me. Don't hold on, just let it be. There's no coming back for me. Don't hold on, just let it be. I said, take me back down to the water. Don't make goodbye any harder. Don't make it harder than it has to be. This place was never meant for someone like me. Don't slow me down. I don't want it. I don't want it. I won't make the same mistake twice. Bite my tongue and hope you play nice. She said you're breathing my air. The smell of gasoline. Wide awake within this dream. A fall you just can't escape. You can't escape. You'll never find yourself in someone else. Liquor rising in out of your mouth. By the time you think you've figured it out, I'll be the blackness in your shadow of doubt. Too much time and too much money spent on endeavors that just weren't worth it. I caught you singing along. Drench the proof in alcohol. Wash away the thought of it all. I'm bent and it won't be long. Have another soul. You'll never find yourself in someone else. Liquor rising in out of your
Hello there, folks. Welcome back to the North American Challenge Elite Stage 4, day number 2. Match number 2 of the night here on our stream for the community stream. The System versus Built by Gamers. Both teams actually just coming off of a series being played. The System were able to take down their opponents inside of their last map in sobriety with a 3-1 victory. For the side of Built by Gamers, it was an 0-3 loss to the Trash Bros, which unfortunately has found themselves with their demise, and that was Mock Ulysses, Hollow, and Jinshroid who were able to go ahead and find that win. And I mean, if you're looking at those names, obviously, it's nothing to scoff at. That's a fantastic team. But there's one thing I will say about those players specifically, it's that they've had their opportunities in Challengers Elite before. This time around, though, they're looking really, really good right out of the gates. And I expect them to be a team that's going to potentially make some waves and maybe some upsets as we get closer to the playoff time for Stage 4.
Yeah, and just as concerning really is the System is no guys to scoff at either. I mean, Built by Gamers just getting out of that one match and then having to face these just absolute titans right now is a super concerning situation for these guys. I mean, it feels like you're dropping down a little bit, but your competition is just as rough. So, I mean, these guys have to go into it full force right now.
You know, absolutely. And you make a really good point there too, because like, you know, you go from the Trash Bros, you're like, all right, you know, we can beat these guys. And you're like, okay, we didn't beat these guys. And now you go up against the System, who's 3-0 already inside of Stage 4 here on day 2, looking to finish at 4-0. So with a hard point here on Moscow, it's going to start off our best of 5 series. Built by Gamers on the left, the System on the right. Zink's fellow Decimate and Zed all heating up at the end of that Garrison hardpoint. Built by Gamers looking to go ahead and at least start things off in a great way. But Zinks finds the first kill of the map. 5 seconds ticked off the clock. You've got about 50 seconds left. Built by Gamers, they'll look for the contestant here. They'll look for the time, but more importantly, they'll look to hold down those P2 spawns.
And I'm loving this, what I'm seeing, just your typical ring around the rosy here on the fountain right there in the center, but looking like Built by Gamers really getting that first really good start, just basically clearing out that whole team, finding a way onto the spawns and just airing themselves out a little bit, as they're already going to be spreading out themselves throughout these spawns and trying to hold it up for P2. Absolutely just looking dominant for these first 2 sites.
Kismet in towards the hard point. Semtex over the top. Will fly around that left side corner, but Decimate will get the better of him in that gunfight. 20 seconds left. Built by Gamers still have the advantage when we talk about that right side of the map for those P2 spawns. Pander with 2, traded out immediately over towards Eskies, and now it's a huge one-on-one. GodRx versus Zed around the corner. Zed's going to peek. It's a one-on-one. The tree headlet's going to be reigning supreme. GodRx is there. Gonna have a couple more players from the System pushing up after the fact. Zinks gets the headshot and finds his way in towards the point. 60 seconds on the hill. It pops for P2. Built by Gamers, holding on strong.
Yeah, this warm-up they had against Trash Bros right now shining fairly well right now as they're facing the System with all these picks they're having on the edge. Obviously, Zeb being that big trump card they have right now. He's had 2 breaks so far, and he could actually be the one big factor for these guys if they want to do have a comeback of some sense. Overall, though, when you look at there's 39 seconds left, Built by Gamers not having the best standing in terms of points of what they were hoping for with all that contention on P1. The System could actually have a pretty shining opportunity coming up for that P3 with it being on the other side of the map.
Looking great so far out of the gates. Built by Gamers have won the majority of the gunfights and got themselves the most hill time in the game. It's a 47-10 lead. Does they give up the last few seconds? Actually, no, they'll go ahead and hold it on. So you're going to have Pander already rotated over towards the next hardpoint. You got the last couple of players controlling the north side of the map. So that's going to spawn the System all the way back down towards Globe. This is the pitch-perfect setup for Built by Gamers over towards the P3 rotations, because you get the scrap time and you get the new hill, something you don't see every day. Plus, you're getting the first couple of picks on the rotation. Oh, this is beautiful from the side of BBG.
Yeah, just the way they're laying this out, especially how they got across the map so fluently. I mean, it's usually a concern for every single team on how to just make it across the map, open up yourself that space to get from P2 to P3, but the way they just executed was almost nearly flawless, getting all that scrap time, as you said, and getting those initial points, and they still seem to be holding out these spawns fairly well with how they have their manpower allocated right now.
I mean, they look pissed off right now after that last series where they dropped 0-3. And I agree, I don't blame them either. They are playing with a firepower. They are playing with a passion. The System maybe coming to this one a bit underprepared. I'm not sure, but, you know, the momentum should have been on the side of the System. Thus far, it's been all BBG. Pander on 4, Kismet on 4, 9-2 and 9-5, respectively, for both members of BBG. And as Pander looks in towards goal, doesn't spot one out yet. Zinks is going to be the first player there, but oh, so sneaky. Pander watching the flank, and he's going to be able to find yet the shots again. Can't find the kill. Decimate is there, but as Pentagram flies around the corner, he'll be the first one to get a kill over towards point number 4, the final point in our first set of rotations. Built by Gamers. They're putting on a clinic here on Moscow.
Yeah, and I feel like this set right here is where the rotations and the way the points are allocated is really where the system could actually look to flip something. Even if they don't get the whole entire time right here, they have enough sights when it comes around to these spawns to keep the contention down, almost as if they did in P1, and at least grab a little bit of scrap time there in the initial sights to just clear it out. I mean, Zink's holding out right here in the center, trying to strafe back and forth. Plenty of potential with this guy overall, but it doesn't seem like anybody's going for any flanks. Meanwhile, we do actually see Pentagram trying to go in there to center, but that fail alone might be the little card that the system needs to go ahead and follow up with 17 seconds left on this last site.
I mean, until the last maybe 10 seconds, the kill feed the entire game has been all pink. 14-4 for Pander here in
really
map
pretty.
number 1. Everybody negative on the side of the system as we continue to push forward. And although they've gotten themselves a bit of progress in terms of a few streaks that are starting to pop up, it's been all pink and blue on the map. Built by Gamers have demolished the system throughout the first set of rotations. Anything can happen on rotation number 2, specifically if Zed is able to go ahead and find some streaks here. But as Pentagram, Kismet play that one together, make the trade play happen, they're going to be able to get not only top S-key control, can push down in towards the hardpoint, but they're going to try and push for P2. Zed the wiser to look for the challenge, but it's got to be a huge one-on-one gunfight for those P2 spawns.
Yeah, I think as you were mentioning, when it comes around to the second rotation, the way these guys are going to play it out, obviously you do have Zeb playing those better angles, trying to find those flanks to get a little bit of a surprise element, and he's done a great job of breaking it thus far, but you need a little bit more manpower because the way these guys are matched up right now, Built by Gamers bringing a lot to the table in the way they're winning these gunfights. So you have to bring, you know, a 2-on-1, then a 2-on-1 with the way that Built by is kind of allocating themselves right now. And the system, they have to opt for those longer pathways so far. I mean, they sit there. We don't exactly see a break on P1 right here. I know it's a little bit of a sacrifice to set your whole team out on the edge of the map and take that long route and take the detour, but in the end, you've got to find a way to get some payout.
You know, I want to say Zinx and Zed have found themselves a way to come to life here inside of this map, but every time it seems like the system has started to take those baby steps forward. Built by Gamers squishes them flat and takes the map back over once again. Kismet, great shots and pairing with the team to fly around the corner. Shots there with the SMG, won't be able to find the kill. That's just going to allow the door to be opened even further for Built by Gamers to find those last few shots. Fellow with the challenge, Pander with 2, Rex is there, all 4 down. A team kill doesn't matter. 3 in a row, 2 in a row for Pander. 19-7. We keep going ahead and kind of highlighting Pander, but I mean, really throughout not only stage 3 and stage 2, but here in stage 4, he has done so much good for Built by Gamers. He has been such an influential piece to the puzzle that has really just put it all together. And it's culminated in Built by Gamers forming a roster that has the star-studded potential to put themselves at the top of the playoffs each and every time and compete for every single stage in the elites for North America.
Yeah, just it really comes down to so many smaller things that's adding up right now. And as you see right there, Zed and Zinx, the 2 guys you just mentioned, getting 2 great picks so far to give them what looks like their first solid point in this game that we've seen. I mean, just the way, though, that Built by Gamers is really throwing themselves out there. I mean, they're willing to sacrifice themselves, not just for that point to get a little bit of debts on the scoreboard, but also for their own teammates to get those shots as long as they can line up theirs. And just the way they're playing as a unit, getting themselves onto these sides, it looks like the system's finally writing down a couple notes from their playbook and finding a way to execute this out. Only issue is with Pentagram getting out here on the edge, facing up Zinx and getting that pick. I mean, they have to find a way to rotate this a little bit quicker, and I think they have enough time to really sacrifice these last couple seconds.
Coming into map number 1, BBG was 1-2 overall in record here in stage 4. The system was 3-0 thus far on paper. It is not translated into the game whatsoever. However, the system have started to claw their way back just a little bit. However, as we look over on the rotation, that's going to be 3 that go down. 1 versus 1. The spawn should be close for BBG, and they are. They're going to be able to get back over towards P4. Zinx is there, but Rex will find the better challenge. Zed over the top starts to push on towards the hard point, but you've got to be able to at least find a couple of kills here. Zed staying alive. Trophy system will go down. Fellow shots around the corner. It's Pentagram who's there with the AR. Decimate on the pinch play will find his 3rd in a row. And that opens the door wide open for the system getting towards the hardpoint. I said last series, the system is self-proclaimed, but the hardpoint that they've played thus far, not including this Moscow hardpoint, has been clinical.
Yeah, just the way they're lining up right now. I gotta say, the system finally had their first break. That was super influential. They haven't really had these situations yet. P3 coming on their side a little bit too easy as they set up for that better, as it's a cross-map hike, but the way they're just going across these maps right now, the way they're just slaying out right now and just staying as a unit, but being a little bit more collective and as one big mind to cooperate right now. Overall, the effort we're seeing in these guys is a lot more showing and has a lot more potential. Only issue is we haven't seen the best showing at them for this P1, so this is really where they have to change the tides for their favor.
You can have some flashy plays from Decimate here in map number 1, but the overall complexion has just been grim. Built by Gamers, once again, hold down middle map. And if there's a safe haven for BBG in Hardpoint when it comes to the AR domination, well, the first one that comes to mind is either Moscow or Checkmate, and you don't really want to play them on either map. When you think of a player who holds down the back lines as potentially one of the best young ARs in the game, you think of Zinx. Thus far, he's been non-existent. Pander, Kismet, Gata, Rex, and Pentagram have shut down the side of the system, have basically a 100-point lead, try to get the rotations on over towards P2, but at this point it really doesn't matter because any kill they want, they can essentially have. Trades have gone their way, hills have gone their way, but most importantly, game number 1 should close out in their favor. There it is, a 100-point lead, 20 seconds is all they need to close out game number 1, put them up 1-0. But there's a chance for the comeback, but not if Pentagram's shooting like that.
Yeah, the way they're just spreading themselves out right now. I mean, looking at Pentagram, how we just sat there in the back. Kismet as well, the way they just said, okay, we're going to wait for this as a collective push. We're not going to go in at one at a time. We need to go ahead and trust each other and make sure that we can move in as a unit, go ahead and close this game out. We see the system playing a little bit more differently, the way these guys are allocating themselves out, playing a little bit more to a funnel effect, but also in a way to where there's a little bit of disruption on both sides of the field. That alone, built by Gamers, they're just better slayers when it comes to being one collective force, and that alone is what's really just giving them a run for their money on this site. But I gotta say, they've held it up fairly well for this P2. Only issue is looking at how Built by Gamers right now is already ready for this rotate. With that 70-point lead right now, I mean, they can sit there and wait all day, say, you know what, we'll just grab scrap time there at the beginning of one, grab those initial points, and we should be sitting fine. And that alone is why the system right now is going to be throwing away a little bit of scrap time, a little bit of a risky move, as long as they can get the payout from it.
Well, they just zoned off the map. That's exactly what they did. The system, yeah, sure, we'll get the last 20 seconds of scrap time, and you can make it a bit of a closer game. But if you just zone off the other, okay, maybe not. Decimate finds 2, somehow stays alive. Pentagram around the corner comes through, but Fellows there for the shots. Kismet, you've got to be able to find 2. Sinks, shots on Nagata Rex. 2 will fall. The system trying to push through. Their last triumphant attempt to get inside of the hard point over towards P3. 3 will go down, and that should do it. Zink's the last one to push around the corner, finds himself 6 feet under Moscow. Built by Gamers, the synergy is there. The duo ship has formed a 1-0 series lead over the side of the system, who are 3-0 in stage number 4.
Wow. I got to say, I mean, it's exactly how you said it earlier. These guys are looking pissed. I mean, just the way this kind of played out, the way they play as a collective unit and said, you know what? It doesn't matter how many guys we stacked up. We can have those individual plays. We can have great players across the board, and we each do our own individual things. But as long as we are one collective unit, we are one massive mob, and we are really ticked off, we're not going to be stopped. And that's exactly what led them to such a dominant win right there for Moscow.
I will say this, BBG, back in, what was it, stage 2, stage 3, a lot of troubles kind of tended to plague them a lot of the time. There would be moments where we would think they have a win sat in front of their lap and it was just theirs for the taking, and then it would fly away. It just seems like all these close moments would just either get the best of them or just wouldn't really make their way and make those motions through. But realistically speaking, here instead of stage 4, they're kind of building off that momentum in stage 2, or rather stage 3. And sure, you could say maybe that series they shouldn't have lost against the Trash Bros, or they shouldn't have lost another series earlier on here and there, but when you come out and dominate a team that's 3-0, such as the system, with 3 players who you expect not only, or rather 4 players, you expect not only to dominate, but win every match that they step foot into, it creates almost this dichotomy between the teams to where BBG, they're fighting for basically everything right now. And the system, they're sitting pretty at 3-0. Sure, 4-0 would be nice, but how hard are you willing to drive that forward to get to 4-0? And that's what the S&D is going to be telling for us.
Yeah, and I think that's whenever it really comes out to see these individual efforts. You're not going to be working as good when it comes around to this search and destroy. You only had that one life to play with. You can't exactly go ahead and get revenge on yourself in that same round. So when it comes around to these maps, that's when it comes around to this exact kind of mode that we're dealing with. I mean, Zed, we saw him It doesn't
No.
only come down in hard point to, kills and frags. It comes down
Sure.
to how much disruption you can have on the site, what kind of impact you can make as an individual player if you are going to be spreading out. Zed having the most objective time, getting those blanks, getting those flanks here on the left and the right, those little infiltrations. It really just comes down to how your team can follow up on that if that's your play style. And I think the way Built by Gamers read it like a book, I mean, they sit there, their name is a system. They have a system, how they play by, and Built by Gamers, I mean, they figured it out and they kind of read it, they kind of broke it open. And once you sit there and get that initial man, that big real trump card they got going on, the ace up the sleeve, it just feels like everything else just gets exposed right in front of you.
Yeah, and I mean, overthrowing the system is kind of what you have to do when you're playing against the likes of the system. I mean,
yeah.
Look, I read the players off. You saw in that last game, but when you look at the system and you see Zinx again, one of the best ARs inside of Call of Duty in the amateur scene, Decimate. Do I really need to explain? Fellow, Empire, again, do I need to explain? And then Zed. Do I need to explain? So, like, when you have firepower like the system, you expect great results every single game. But there will be times when Built by Gamers, God RX, former pro, Pander, former pro, Pentagram, basically a pro, Kismet, former pro, they're playing off against one another. And at the top of the amateur level, you can say whatever you want about specific teams, but it's all about who's hot at a given time. And right now, BBG is hot, and they're going to be going into game 2. Not only with the Vengeance trying to get themselves at 2-2, but they saw what they just did to the system in the hard point. And that was kind of the golden goose egg for the system throughout the entirety of Stage 4 so far was hard points. So where does that leave you?
I mean, just going forward, I got to say, with both these other modes, when it comes around to search and destroy and control, there's a lot more pacing. There's a lot more slower times you can think. There's a lot more decision making going into it. There's a lot more collective mind. There's a lot of influence that can be brought to the table. Every little thing has a lot bigger spotlight when it comes around to these two modes. So I feel like that alone, the system, with how they're a lot better when it comes to individual efforts, this is where they can shine. And this is exactly where they are going to try and find this lead, find possibly a 1-1, 2-1. Go ahead and draw it out and get it back to these modes once again, because Hardpoint and the way they just kind of faced up against these guys, I'm pretty sure they're not going to want to stick around to where they're really relying on the next Hardpoint to give them the series. So I think that's where they're sitting, that's where they're standing, and that's where they're going to have to stand if they're going to try and find something going forward.
Great series so far, but we're going to sort some stuff out in the back end, folks. We'll be back here with the system and Built by Gamers. I'm McCormill. That's Mick. We'll see you back here for Stage 4, day number 2.
been screaming my lungs out, but there are no words to make a sound. Even you can drown in the lies that you keep around. This house is not a home when you sold the only name you own. 'Cause when you live a lie, you will fail. Give up before you try. Live it up 'cause you'll do what you want. Real truth, I'm not as scared as you are. Every day you try to take a piece of me, but you won't break me. Sounds like I'm better off dead, with too many things unsaid. When nothing's gonna stop me now. Not another day will dawn for those who do not hold on. When nothing's gonna stop me now. I've come to my senses around now. Pick myself back up and you bring me back down. To find that I'm right where I started. Now I'm leaving myself behind, only a little at a time. Drowning in a sea of faithless. Just give me patience. Live it up 'cause you do what you want. Real truth, I'm not as scared as you are. Every day you try to take a piece of me, but you won't break me. Sounds like I'm better off dead, with too many things unsaid. When nothing's gonna stop me now. Not another day will dawn for those who do not hold on. When nothing's gonna stop me now. Every day ends to begin. Take a deep breath and let's start again. Every day ends to begin. Take a deep breath and let's start again. Every day ends to begin. Take a deep breath and let's start again. Sounds like I'm better off dead, with too many things unsaid.
Welcome back to stage 4 of the North American Challengers Elite. My name is McCormiel. Alongside myself is Mick. And if you guys have not seen already or have not been reading the chat, BBG and the opposing team in the system, they are playing on youtube.com/COD Challengers right now. So you don't have that stream already tapped open. And now's the best time to do it. They're playing over there. We're picking up Nemo and EastR here on our community stream. If you're wondering who Nemo is, it's going to be Zyral, Archives, Ramby, and Perform going up against Gravity, John, Jerd, and Sib. And well, if there's any time where both of these two teams need to win a game, Mick, it's right now, because EastR coming into this at 0-3, and for the side of Nemo, it's not that much better. They were 1-1, and I believe they dropped another series that they played earlier on today. So both of these two teams desperately need a win here inside of this best-of-5 series.
Yeah, completely with you. I mean, looking at these standings for both of these teams and just how they've been performing today, obviously probably not their best day. But we got to exactly see what's coming up with this. They're now closely matched. They're a lot better, and they're a lot more closely aligned with where they should be standing in terms of comparing to each other. And I feel like with this map set that we got coming up, it's going to really spotlight what they have, and especially starting off here with Apocalypse. I think this could be a great start to what could be a long-lasting series.
Well, if that's going to set the tone, Sib finds the first kill with a flash. Everybody else pushing up the map. Trades are going to be there, but Nemo will go ahead and hold on strong with a kill there from Zyral. He'll find 2 quick kills off the rip. 5 seconds for them. Nobody in towards the hard point at the moment. They're just trying to get map positioning, but more importantly, hold down for spawns over towards P2. They want to make sure that EastR can't rotate here through the bottom side under top TV. And as Ramby's just going to be laying down, he'll find 1. Archives is there to find the second. Ramby might as well go ahead for 2. 3 fall down. The 4 should fall soon there from Sib as well. 21 fresh seconds onto the clock. 21 left, and then we'll set up for P2.
Yeah, it's a great little start right here for Nemo, the way they have it set up, looking at this next side as well when it comes around to P2 and how kind of corner-oriented it is. I mean, these guys have to go ahead and start looking for a break, and EastR obviously going ahead and jumping that gate and finding a way to go ahead and get there. Only issue is this break doesn't look all that successful, which will kind of set them back fairly far.
Looking towards middle map, Ramby won't be able to find anything. That's because nobody is there. No one wants to push through Chicken Coop. Jerd will fall. Now Ramby can go back and help out the rest of his teammates. John with a Semtex will find his demise. Ramby on a 5 spree looking to stay alive. Perform will be there to tag team for 2. As Nemo start to push back a little bit over towards Temple just to hold EastR at bay. It's been all the side of blue thus far. EastR's respawn continues to struggle. They lost this game to LAG by about 100 points, and that came off of 100 straight for LAG when the game was tied at around 150.
Yeah, just the way they're kind of playing this game out right now, they're being very slow, very methodical, which obviously, I mean, in a lot of cases it will play into your favor, but this is hard point. It's very close oriented. It's very fast paced, and it's very get in your face. So constantly they have to find a way to go ahead and get on these sites, and I feel like they're playing a little bit too slow when it comes to, you know, breaking down their decisions and how to get on and execute. And then when time really comes around, they just don't have the synergy for it right now.
Well, you need to push up the map. 50% of the map is in control of EastR. The other half, the 50, is by Nemo, but EastR control the better half of that 50 at the moment. Jerd's going to find the shots over the top. Gravity pairs for 1-2, but as Archives finds 2, John is there for the trade. Nobody in towards the hard point at the moment because the contest is still going to be there. However, from middle map, the push falls flat on its face. Nemo's players will fall, and now all the Zyro's still up and towards top TV. It's really not going to matter all that much because if you see all the red arrows around the hard point, they're going to be able to pick off every single angle. There's Gravity to find the kill. Tyler Perform comes through, can try to find a couple, but it really won't matter once again. EastR, this is the biggest hill that they've had thus far to go ahead and claw their way back into map number 1 from the 60-point deficit that they have. However, 20 seconds of scrap time should go to the favor of Nemo as EastR have rotated over towards P4.
And I gotta say, with how everything is playing out right now, I mean, EastR, you said this was the biggest hill they've had so far. I mean, the ironic part is it's the smallest, it's also the smallest hard point they've had so far. I mean, the way how closely oriented it is, how close these guys are all kind of being connected to each other and having eyes on the exact same thing. I mean, that's going to play into their favor. They have to find a setup going forward to really work with that. And I think the way that everything else is allocated out, especially right now on P4 with the way Nemo's kind of spread out right now, I mean, they're just playing this game a lot better, and EastR has to find a way to move as a unit, and they seem to be getting isolated a little bit too much for their favor.
Well, see, you know, I thought EastR was going to go ahead and grab the scrap time there, too. The setup looked really, really good, but Nemo just found their way inside the little crevices that were able to be set up, and, well, they found themselves control the hard point. However, Gravity's inside, the shots are there, but Zyral, once again, has been able to find himself, too, makes it a third. Well, at least it was going to be a third until Perform was there. 2 2-2 streaks for the side of Nemo. Everybody from the side of EastR pushing back through that front door once again. Our Kim's around the corner. Shots are there from the 74. You around the right side. Has had the help of his teammates. Gravity, the last one there. Sib finds the help through middle map. Can fly in towards Chicken Coop. But again, 15 seconds of scrap time is not going to be your best friend when Nemo has the rotations and set up for spawns.
Yeah, and just looking how they got themselves set up right now, super threatening for the likes of EastR. Just the way you have to go ahead and spread yourself out. These guys doing a much better job and now kind of finding their stride to say we need to be moving as a unit. Only issue is you can't all opt for the same exact avenue. You can't all travel that same exact road, and you got to add a little bit of diversity to the mix. So the way they're playing this out right now, they are getting a little bit of contention on this site. Finally finding a little bit of couple picks here and there to get some time on the board. Only issue is they have to continue this momentum because they're not at a 40-point deficit. They're at 120 points. So they got a lot bigger of a way to go. And then you go ahead and start looking to set up for these next sites as well to go ahead and control time on this one.
Got a lot of problems. Hill time, absolutely one of them. And it begs the question, what happened to this EastR roster? You go from winning stage 3 to not being able to win a series inside of stage 4 thus far. And it just... Sure, there's the conversation of, okay, well, you know, some players from the pro scene have come down into the challenger scene because of roster shifts. But my question is, what is the biggest key factor that has had EastR on the back foot throughout all of the matches they have played thus far in stage 4? Because it just simply can't be all the teams getting better and EastR being complacent with what they had in stage 3.
Yeah, I think it really just comes down to a confidence thing because, I mean, if we want to flash back a little bit to earlier today, they didn't really break 100 against Optic, and that'd be pretty killing on my confidence, man. If I can't even get 100, I mean, obviously you are facing the likes of pros and you're getting this practice in, but I think there's just really not enough notes being written down in all reality. I feel like they're not writing enough down, really getting enough to play with and really to build off of for them to actually elevate themselves as a team. And going forward, they have to just go ahead and look how to explore more avenues, how to play the map out a little bit more. They're very good players on individual basis, but there has to be times where they're forced to be one collective unit and forcing these spawns in these corners. I don't think they know how to spread themselves out from that situation.
Earlier on in the broadcast, when we were talking about EastR, I said that when John has struggles inside of the games, it really does hurt the side of EastR, but at the same time, it was also the flip side where I said, when Sib struggles, it's also a huge blow for EastR because Gravity and Jerd, although they do have the tendency to be more consistent, John and Sib have really been inconsistent through the last couple of matches, not only through stage 4, but inside of that open as well. So when you look at this team, when you look at EastR, on paper, once again, you would say, yeah, they're going to be up there to compete for matches. And they are starting to make this comeback a little bit here inside of the game. It's been about 60 to 70 points, almost unanswered from the side of EastR. But Nemo with the break through the back, they're going to get those back spawns over by the temple. They should be able to find at least a few kills up front. But as 3 fall down, the last one alive in Archives is going to be in the back. It will be EastR who holds on for the 20 seconds of scrap time. This is going to be huge. Rotating over towards P2, or rather 3, but more importantly, look at player number 8 in the middle map. It's going to be a huge gunfight between Perform and Gravity over towards next. And well, Perform takes that kill, and that solidifies the side of Nemo over towards B4. 3.
Yeah, I think a big part when it really comes, a big contributing factor when it comes to just this little comeback we have on our hands right now. I mean, look at the likes of Gravity and Jerd right now. I know earlier you mentioned John and Sib and the way they play it out, but when they can't exactly meet expectations every single day, not all of us are capable of doing that. You have to make sure that the rest of your team can pick up the slack where need be. And we finally see these two guys finding a way to just get themselves onto the map, finding a way to play out these whole kind of matchups they have going on, and just winning these sites. And that alone is going to be a big thing because not only do you as a teammate not exactly see that coming, and it's a pleasant surprise for you, it's kind of an ace up the sleeve for the enemy to where they didn't exactly see it coming because they're going to be looking at the two guys. They're going to have their highlighters on the more important notes. And meanwhile, the rest of the textbook's going to come up in the test, and you're not exactly prepared for it.
EastR got the game within 20 points, but Nemo has started to stretch out the lead yet again. Perform the beautiful shots onto the so difficult to contest head glitch from Sib there in the back. Tries the ego chow for Gravity. Why not? You've got yourselves a good lead and you want those back spawns. But as John will go ahead and just dip and dodge away from the opponents, Zyril, Archives, they'll go ahead and pair for 2 in the back, trade it out instantaneously in the technical way from EastR. Now it's going to be a pinch play that can be coming through because Archives in the back here. John will find the kill. That basically demolishes any hope that they had for a flank. But as Sim finds 2, they found themselves in towards that hard point. But the biggest single problem that they're going to have to face here is where Nemo will be pushing towards this hill. Sib, middle map. You're going to be looking for those players pushing up. You found 2. John finds 1. Last one alive is Zyral in middle map. So 30 seconds could put you at about 200 points. Then you'd be down by 18. You've got the rotational spawns for P5. It's not over just yet. You've come back down from 120 points. Now's where you have to make it shine, stick it to them, and take map number 1.
And I know you mentioned exactly where Nemo is going to be coming from for that last site, but it seemed pretty apparent on how they all kind of charged right there up front, almost handing EastR a little squad wipe right there, just kind of funneling in onto that site, exactly copying something out of their playbook. So that alone, I think, is going to be a big factor so far. And we see EastR, these guys right here, gravitating this one specific fight, how they're just playing out the map. They're utilizing these walls a lot more, realizing that everything is made out of wood and they can shoot at whatever they want to. And you're most likely 9 times out of 10, you're going to have a bullet hit something. And I think they're doing a lot more spraying, a lot more utilization of the map, and that alone is going to play to their favor, especially with this little comeback that we're having right here on our hands as they're now grabbing the lead.
EastR, first lead of the game. 120 points, you were down, and now you've come back. Archivs pushing in towards the point. Zyral's there. Archivs finds the second now on a 3 spree. You're trying to claw back to now. You find yourselves back in the lead. And with 25 seconds left, basically for either of these two teams to win, neither can win off of this previous hard point. It's going to have to come down to middle map in that point number 1. Sean, what can you do here in middle map? You got players pushed around. You got the player down below from top TV. They're going to be about 240. I'd say 242 at the end of that hard point. EastR set up for next. 24 seconds, you find yourselves the win. A cheeky little head glitch here from John.
Yeah, and I love the way John's playing this out right here. He has to keep eyes on that plane. He has to go ahead and keep eyes on that outer map because you're going to have guys who are going to be trying to come in through the center, but you have those eyes from the objective. But we don't see enough guys allocated there, and they're going to get these picks off as we now see Nemo having another lead with only 4 seconds left.
2 kills, another one around the corner, 15 seconds. Jerd is there to go ahead and find the contest as well. Now from the back, Jerd finds the kill. Performing middle map, you've got to go Big John. What can you do? There's Sib flying through. Archivs is there. That's not going to be enough for EastR to complete the comeback. Nemo, by the skin of their teeth, somehow, some way, clutch up in the Apocalypse hardpoint for map number 1. And I'd love to say that the struggles are still there from EastR and hardpoint because they are, but a hardpoint comeback like that takes a good amount of volition and, of course, composure throughout the entirety of the map from the team. EastR make it close there at the end, but more importantly, Nemo close it out when it should have been closed out about 100 seconds sooner.
Yeah, I mean, that alone, just for EastR, that comeback in itself, I would say is a success. It's a victory in their hands because, I mean, just pulling off something like that, especially with how much you were in a deficit, we were kind of frowning upon you guys, finding a way, saying, yo, something has to be brought to the table. And then you guys, got hungry and you ordered something. So they definitely brought something to the table. They definitely found a way to get themselves back into the game. And that alone is going to give them some good momentum. Even though they barely got shut down, they're going to have a lot coming in Search and Destroy. And they're going to have a lot of confidence to really bring on site that can actually give them that momentum shift that they need for the entire series. Because as we said, I mean, neither one of these teams exactly are on top of their game today, but that alone could be a little hoorah, a little puke and rally for them so far to get right back to where they started and, find their place once again.
Map number 1 was close. Nemo, you look at this roster and you know what they can bring to the table, but as we take a look at our entire series here, Raid, Search, and Destroy is where we'll go next. Control on Checkmate for map number 3, Moscow Hardpoint, and Express S&D if we need to get to maps number 4 and 5. But if we can I guess we can take a look at the S&D now here, Mick, and what I want to see is what EastR can do coming out after losing that map number 1. Because, folks, if you remember beforehand, when they played against UT Crew, first map of the day, it was a devastating hardpoint loss where they were able to find their way after the fact, come back on Raid, and then be able to 6-1 them. It was almost a 6-0, and Sibilance was at basically 10-0 before it ended. It was 9-1 before they eventually won the game, but he was 9-0, and it was a 1 versus 2 clutch that he almost won 6-0 them and then keep him on a 10-0 streak. So with Sibilance having a lackluster map 1 performance throughout most of the game, expect him to come out here map number 2, guns blazing. But I will say one thing, UT Crew's S&D, much different here from the side of Nemo. When you look at the likes of Archives, when you look at the likes of Zyral perform, they're a team that plays aggressive in S&D. They're going to get up in your face. They're going to be able to push the map. They're going to be able to will it in their favor early on, and that's going to be a huge, huge factor against EastR. But if they can counter that aggression, they can make those mid-map adjustments, they can make those mid-game adjustments, they're going to be fine.
Yeah, not only just in the mid-map. I mean, you have plenty of space to play around with in Raid. It's such a large map. You had the bomb sites on both ends of it. I mean, middle control is very influential, but if these guys can find a way to get off those choke points on the edge, go ahead and try and shut down those defaults that they have going into it, because you're not going to put all 4 right there up front. You're not going to want to go ahead and sacrifice those trades. If they go ahead and play on the outside of the map, they're obviously going to be a little bit more weary of that kitchen area, of that money, you know, closer to the laundry as well. But if they can find themselves in the right situations and the right shoes at the right time, especially when it comes around to defense, you got to play a little bit more weary, but the payouts are going to be a lot more influential, because you know you have either one side of the map locked off and the other, and it almost isolates the enemy that does want to grab that middle control to one side or the other, and you can usually get a read by that time once you get a pick or two.
There's one thing I hope we see here in the Search and Destroy, and it would be a 4 versus 4 battle for middle map right off the rip. That would just set the tone for the entire S&D, would set the tone for the rest of how this series is going to play out. But if there's one thing that EastR needs to walk away with here inside of the S&D, it's a map win to tie this series up 1-1. 2 players over towards B right off the rip, 3 players on the side of Nemo in towards Kitchen looking for a middle map push. John's going to make a daring play, but he's going to hop right into Art right after the fact, because he does not want to push out in the middle map. 4 versus 4 as we go, 15 seconds off the clock. John with the first blood, 4 versus 3.
The way they're just kind of allocating themselves out right now. I love what George got going down. He's going ahead and getting these rotations. They're weaving in and out of these sites and these different areas of the map. Only issue is, when you kind of give up that mid control, as we mentioned earlier, Ramby's going to sit there and finally be pushing to some shoots where he has to make a play. And with EastR not there to retaliate and really turn around and keep eyes across the whole map, that's going to be a big pick on the bomb that's going to come through for these guys.
John gets first blood in the round, but more importantly, Nemo in a triumphant 3 versus 4, winning that 2 versus 2 at the end, and they don't lose lives after they get down to those last 2 players. So maintaining that momentum from map number 1 after a very close victory for themselves. The first offensive round does not go suit for the side of EastR, and they'll have to fight back on the defensive side. And now I have to kind of ask you, Mick, right? For EastR, the main focus for them was coming out and storming the side of UT Crew in the Search and Destroy on this map specifically. If Nemo is able to go ahead and just continuously pound it home and pound the point home, that they're going to be able to not only smack them in the hard points, but able to be taking Search and Destroys off of them at the same time. Is that a scary sight for EastR, and is that something that is going to come back to bite them?
It most definitely could be. I mean, the way they're kind of playing it out right now, it's not exactly the most confident engraving. I mean, the way they're kind of very storming on these sides, the way they're allocating themselves. But I got to say, when it came around to defense, they had a great read on how they kind of allocate themselves out, utilizing their tactics and their lethals for the side to get as much information as possible. Only issue is Nemo's aggression. They already had that side influence. They already used their tacticals and lethals for a little bit better of a cause, therefore saving some. And I'm sure Ramby's going to have a lot to play with when it comes around to being in this up top window right now, really putting Gravity in a situation with having nothing left in his arsenal.
Oh no. Gets the kill there. Middle map, the last player alive. It's going to be Archives, but he played that perfectly. He had to chase the players. The 1 versus 4 can't complete it because he can't get the defuse. But my God, Gravity not only finds the 2 kills at the B site, but goes in so and finds the last 2 players anyways. I'd love to say that it would come on a round win from Gravity, but unfortunately he's not able to pick it up. It's too little too late, but another great round there for the side of Nemo, as they play that perfectly in the time situation.
Yeah, I mean, that's all you really can do, especially when you already had that bomb down. Knowing also that Gravity already uses lethal and tactical to kind of just flush out that bomb site, not exactly working into his favor. He didn't have a way to engage a push without sacrificing his own body. And that alone is going to be a big player going forward. But we do see him on this 4 streak. Regardless of what happens, he could have a whole Predator missile and artillery strike to play with, as his team already gets that first pick for this round, having that momentum over towards the A side.
A lot of ifs there calculated in those streaks, but a 3 versus 4 the last time we... Oh, no. Oh, God, no. Well, the second I saw Perform's legs moving in the exact same spot, I kind of figured that we were going to be going down the rat hole there. But either way, a 2-0 lead for Nemo. I'm sure we'll start it up in the same way. EastR looking to go ahead and win this round. Well, they would have liked to win this round if they would have been able to go ahead and continue to play it out. But 4-3 there. Nemo still up 1-0 in the series, 2-0 in the S&D. And while we figured that one out, we're going to kick it to a break. When we come back, the remainder of this S&D and the conclusion of this best-of-5 series is on the loom. I'm Cormiel. That's Mick. We'll be back for North American Challengers Elite, day number 2 for Stage 4.
staring at the end, but I will not give in. I will fight until the end. We're staring at the end, but I will not give in. I will fight until the end. The story is getting old. Don't let how it unfolds. Why do I feel so cold? It was somewhere along the way. All my colors turned into gray, and I felt it. Why am I to stay? Something's wrong, it's controlling my mind. Makes me numb and it turns me blind. I'm losing it. I'm losing it. The sea has changed, the dawn takes hold. Need to stop from caving in. Can't catch my breath 'cause I feel so cold. Silence the voices from within. Silence the voices from within. A chill running down my spine. It's trying to tell me to fold my hand and quit. I'm out of time. Something's wrong, it's controlling my mind. Makes me numb and it turns me blind. Please show me why. I have to stay. The sea has changed, the dawn takes hold. Need to stop from caving in. Can't catch my breath 'cause I feel so cold. Silence the voices from within. Scar from a past I can't erase. A hole in my chest I can't replace. But I can feel it in my bones. I still feel it beneath the skin. Feel it beneath my skin. Oh, I try to run away, but it grabs hold of me. I feel myself.
Welcome back, folks. Well, the other match that we were going through with EastR is going to be on a little bit of a hiatus for the time being. We're in the lobby now with LAG Academy and the Trash Bros, where Trash Bros were able to take map number 1. They're up 1-0 in the series. However, LAG Academy, they are absolutely reckless when it comes to this. When it comes to search and destroy on Moscow. Nero 6-2, the young phenom for the LAG Academy roster, putting in work here today. Multi-title champion throughout the challenger scene, throughout the amateur scene. It doesn't matter what you put him, he's going to succeed in flying colors. And at 6-2 on a 6 spree, looking for one more. We'll get him the artillery barrage, and then the cruise missile could follow toe soon after the fact. I'm a cornmeal. Alongside myself is Mick. Mick, what are we looking at here on this offensive push from LAG?
Well, I gotta say, we're looking at a pretty fluid B push right here. The way they're kind of allocate themselves out, having all that mid-map control, they have a lot of place to rotate as well. Go back towards the A side, which they seem to be opting for. With it being right within Eye's view, they have so much time to play with. Only issue is Nero could be caught out here pretty easily with the situation he's kind of stuck in right now. I'm really looking to see what they got going on that B side, whether a flank's going to come through from Mox or not.
Damage comes in with the Semtex there. Bomb tries to go down, but Yuli gets the best of him there for a second, so that will go ahead and allow the side of LAG not only to go and have a little bit of momentum here in the round, but the Trash Bros on the flip side on defense are going to be able to put themselves in a good position. Bomb's going to be wrapped over towards B, though. They're going to have absolutely no clue that's going to be rotated, and Mox is already set up in towards back top PD. This could be the best play of the game right here for LAG Academy, but they've got to be able to get the bomb down, and they will. So 45 seconds left on the clock. The retake has to come through. The post-plant setup for LAG has commenced.
The way they just kind of fell back right there, the way Mox is kind of rotating around the map, utilizing as many angles as possible. Getting caught out right there isn't the best situation for him, but Elemental right here still has plenty of promise, getting a couple shots right there, just spacing him out, and he could easily play this out for time if he finds the right angle for it.
1v3, turns around, gets the first kill, but Jintroid much wiser to hop through the window, not make the same play as the rest of his team. The pinch play gets set up, and they take the round. 2-3, still down here in the S&D. However, it's a great defensive retake over towards that B zone, albeit it was a 2 versus 3 retake, but at the same time, getting Yuli that first kill and finding Nero off the streaks to where he's not able to find that artillery or the cruise missile is the biggest single-handed play that they've made all game long, and that's huge. That's the difference between 4-1 and 3-2, with LAG still up by a round here. Bit of a cushion, but on the defensive side, what can you do?
I mean, just overall, the way they're kind of playing this out right now, just the way they have to kind of allocate themselves. I mean, LAG looking a lot better. The way they kind of have everything formatted, they have a 1-1-2 setup. We see two guys over here towards the A site, and the way they're kind of making this engage right now, lots of promise to go ahead and get a pick because they're going to be just kind of shutting out Hollow. Because, I mean, if you're on the guy who's on the offense, you don't exactly want to go right into the lion's den. You're trying to find a way to get this bomb down. Looking at this engagement right here, this would be as fair as it gets for either one of these two sides.
First blood off the board comes to the hands of Mox with the AR. Exceed will find 1-2, and there's Yuli trying to find the kills, but unfortunately left alive at a 1 versus 4.
Wow.
Can't get it done. LAG, a pitch-perfect round there once again for themselves. As I said beforehand, they're the Reapers of Moscow when it comes to search and destroy. They're good on the hard point too, and well, if there was a control mode still on Moscow, I'm sure they'd be dominant, but this is their map. ARs have a lot of area to shine in. Well, I didn't get to see that from Exceed's point of view last time, but my God, with the Diamante, he gets the job done, the round win. The 1 versus 4 doesn't come through, so, I mean, Mick, with the way LAG's been able to play here, not only just in this game, but throughout the entirety of Stage 4, they seem like the team to beat potentially besides the system.
Oh, easily. I mean, the way they're just kind of playing themselves out right now, it's not only just clean sweeps they're bringing to the table, they're quick, too. So they're very methodical. You know, they're not playing very systematically, but they are playing very methodically. So, I mean, I feel like that's the only real counter you got coming into this to really go for your own scene and the way to just kind of turn the tides into your favor. So going forward, the way they're just kind of standing on top right now, how kind of easy they are, the pacing they have in terms of their whole communication right now, that alone is giving them a lot of potential for not only search and destroy, but for control as well, to where you have to utilize the whole map. And getting those flicks only help your case that much more.
Well, Nero with the trade. They'll route the bomb back over towards A, and this is once again beautiful. LAG, although they didn't win the rotation over towards B the last time it happened because they were in a 2 versus 3, this time it's a 3 versus 3, and they're back over towards A getting the bomb down. They have juked Trash Bros twice here in multiple situations on the offensive round. Trophy will get destroyed. Nero gets the bomb down, and now LAG in prime position just to sit and wait for the side of the Trash Bros to start pushing out. You've got Mox sitting in the optic corner, Mental down over towards the docks, and as Jintroid starts to potentially push out here over towards the bomb site, it's going to be a double chow if it does come in, but it's got to be quick. Mox can't find the shots. Jintroid there. Mental with the trade. Now over towards the last player starting to push. It's a 2 versus 2. Doesn't know who to shoot at. And the Trash Bros, even though they get juked out, the retake comes in very, very quickly. And it was oh so nice as they slid out the door and were able to find Mox, who was sitting in the optic corner oh so patiently.
Yeah, just really a lack of coverage right there. I mean, these guys, I'm not sure what kind of cell phone usage they have, whether they're going with Sprint, T-Mobile. I mean, because right now, I mean, they're just kind of not covering every corner.
Hey, don't trash on T-Mobile. Okay. It's
all
Metro
right.
by T-Mobile, but don't trash on T-Mobile. Okay.
All right. Well, I mean,
pay
you
good
know,
money for my phone bill there, and I enjoy my. They got the best 5G coverage. That's right.
hey.
So hey,
Well,
you know
maybe in the coming seasons, like we said, we could, just like LAG right now, we could see coming up here soon. They have a lot more coverage overall. They're doing a lot better job of covering these corners. I feel like they didn't really consider the middle map in that one situation. I mean, you had a guy stationed right there in the corner of Eskies, but not really having too many eyes up front. But we're going to see a lot of eyes on it right now with both teams meeting on this A-side bomb.
Nero on the docks. Players in Eskies looking to go ahead and rotate the bomb over towards B, potentially here through middle map, but are they going to be wiser to at least spot out Exceed in middle map? The answer right now seemingly is no. However, they do have the B street all to themselves and the B building as well. Mox in the back looking to set up in PD. We've seen them do this multiple times throughout the S&D here. But the Trash Bros, they're going to get a free plant in towards that B bomb site. So Mox, left side corner. No challenges coming through yet. 45 seconds to work with on the retake for LAG.
And the Withers kind of playing this around on the B site. Only issue is, when it comes around to B, you don't have as much breathing room. And that alone is super kind of claustrophobic for the team that is on that defense. They have to keep constant eyes around that whole site. And the way Uli, he's going to have that best angle, but only losing that trade right there isn't going to play into his favor. But having his other two teammates making sure to get a positive trade overall and getting executions all across the board from every angle around this B site. I mean, with LAG not exactly making that initial push, finding an angle to go ahead and kind of infiltrate, that's just going to keep the game a lot slower, and the Trash Bros are going to find a way to manipulate that to their favor when they are on this offensive side with that bomb down.
Two quick rounds in a row, tie things up at 4 apiece. An offense and a defense go to the way of the Trash Bros. Now they go back on the defensive side, which realistically should equate to a round win, but we've seen LAG be able to rotate the bomb over towards A and B and not work out for them. This time, will they go ahead and find a first blood? Will they rotate it early on? Will they even rotate the bomb at all? No, they're just going to push over towards B, at least for the time being. Nero, bomb handler for the side of LAG. Trash Bros looking to get aggressive over towards A. Player number 2 in Mental needs to be careful here, though, because he's got a 1 versus 3 over there, and if he gets caught out, that's an instantaneous spot down for the side of LAG. The Trash Bros will have the number advantage, and they've got map control, at least in middle.
Yeah, and I think that alone is just going to play into their favor, the way they kind of just execute the whole map. They utilize every single corner, find their way to both sides, and play out the whole map in its entirety. And that's exactly how they execute so many rounds so flawlessly. And even when they do it, they either lose in a close race or they sit there and win in fabulous fashion. So overall, for this kind of momentum to be shifting towards A right now, especially with this mid control, they can look to completely flip the tables, especially getting that first blood, but getting it traded out. Only issue is that bomb is now down, so they're going to have to make a little bit more initiative when trying to get these picks right now, doing a great job of executing that and finding another round onto the board now with the 5-4 lead.
Hollow falls there in the 1 versus 3. LAG, they get the first blood there thanks to Exceed. Second kill comes through in the way of a trade, and well, after that fact had come through, Exceed finds the last 2 kills there in the round 3 in a row there for him, and that puts them at match point here instead of the search and destroy. I will say, though, Trash Bros, every time their back has been against the wall, they've been able to turn up, at least tie the game or make it a close one. LAG, though, this would be a huge win here because, as I said beforehand, and as you can see at the top of your screen, that little white box over the 4 for the side of the Trash Bros indicates that they have won 1 map here so far in this best of 5 series. LAG looking to go ahead and tie things up. They're undefeated here inside of stage 1 so far, looking to keep that streak alive, and going down 0-2 would not bid well for themselves.
Just looking at this matchup right here, we got to see exactly how this plays out because Trash Bros, they need another thing on the board to really keep them in this game because this is match point. And getting that rotation in, they're finally going to be taking a note out of LAG's book and finding a way to find themselves across the map almost in a swift fashion. Only issue is Exceed right here with the double kill is going to actually just completely change the tides of that whole momentum shift Trash Bros was looking for. I mean, obviously, we usually think in a dream sense, getting that 2-on-1 order, getting that trade in would be a huge shift for these guys, but there could be some promise still in the eyes of LAG right now.
2v2. Mental and Exceed, who have led the way pretty much thus far for the side of LAG, left alive now, Hollow, in a 1v2. Rotates all the way back over towards PD. Bomb is down a middle map. Has got to find these last couple of kills. Because for LAG, they can just play this passive. Here comes Hollow, though. The long flank around over towards the B street. He's got to be careful. He's got about 10 seconds to work with. 1 versus 1, but he's just going to play his life over in Told Gold. So smart here from the side of LAG. Hollow can try his might to find this last kill, and maybe we'll check inside of Gold, but it won't matter. The shots won't be there. Neither will the kill. LAG, they'll take it 6-4, tie the series up at 1 apiece. The Trash Bros, despite a triumphant comeback attempt, they fall. Now we'll go to a map number 3 in control.
And just the way they kind of played that out, I was looking for these guys to be a little bit more kind of across the board when considering the Trash Bros. LAG doing a much better job being across the board when it came to just utilizing the whole map, but we are going to see right now EastR not only just running the whole map, but absolutely dominating it with this 5-1 lead for this search and destroy.
Technically a 5-3 lead, though. As Nemo did
That's
take
right.
2 rounds in the previous search and destroy, and now it's their 4th. So it is 5-4. One more round win for Nemo would be around 11. But again, EastR, in map number 1, they did not perform well in the hard point until the very end of it. It got extremely close when it should not have. Nemo really let the game slip away from them. However, here in the search and destroy, it's been the opposite. EastR, after they lagged out down 0-2, they were able to win basically what seemed like 5 in a row. 5-4 now, they still lead here on the defensive side. Nemo, can you go ahead and win an offensive round? You have not been able to play well on offense at all here on Raid. The only 2 rounds you've won here thus far have been defenses, despite those first 2 round wins of the game.
Man, and I gotta say, just not only to mention that, just how the guys are playing this out. Obviously, John was a big factor we were talking about when it came around to Apocalypse. He's a big player, a person we wanted to highlight and just find a little bit more influence out of. But when it comes to looking at this whole comeback they've had so far, with those 5 straight, I mean, he's been a huge factor in that. With looking at 9-4 right now, and could be the man, still being alive, to actually bring this back alongside the man, the myth, Gravity.
Well, you can breathe a sigh of relief if you are the side of Nemo. The bomb will go down, but more importantly, you don't get pieced out there by lining up. Gravity left alive in a 1 versus 3. If there's any man that can do it with the AR, it's going to be him. Looking over towards the right side, 30 seconds left. Going to be able to spot perform out on the left, but the shots under the car are there, folks. We're going to a round 11. Nemo has won 2 rounds in a row. And again, if you are just joining us, this S&D has been split up into 2 parts. There was a bit of a connection error after the first 2 rounds of the last search and destroy between both of these teams. So it's 5-5, despite the scoreboard saying 5-3.
Just the way they're kind of playing this out. EastR obviously finding some kind of stride that works for them. I got to say, earlier, the way they were kind of putting out their manpower, the way they were kind of splitting across the edges of the map, wasn't the most efficient way to go about it. But, you know, looking in a future sense, and we haven't exactly got to see what's been going on with them, but apparently something clicked. Because we saw them right there towards the end of Apocalypse have a lot going for them, and now they got even more on the board.
It's aggressive, but the trophy system absolutely saves Jerd's life right there. And as Zyro looks around the corner, the bomb will go down. 45 seconds left. Jerd comes around the corner, but the Semtex is going to prohibit him from coming outside of Tiki. Zyro will have to back off here for the time. 35 seconds left on the flank. Performers there. Not going to be able to find the shots. They're on to John. That's a huge first blood. 30 seconds left. Zyro around the corner. Finds the shots. Up top on towards Gravity. Will you be able to find the kill? No, you can't. John, Gravity, there. EastR clutch up in the round 11. 6-5 in the S&D. They'll tie the series up 1 apiece, but despite them tying it up 1-1, Respawn has been a struggling factor. They didn't win the last 2 respawns of Control and Hardpoint against UT Crew earlier on. It's hard to say after the map 1 performance that we saw between both of these 2 teams that Gravity and the Co. for the side of EastR will be able to clutch up in the Control in the Hardpoint, but anything is possible at this point, specifically when desperation starts to call in and you're down 0-3 already in overall record here in Stage 4. So they need this win, and that was huge for them to tie things up at 1 apiece.
Yeah, I gotta say, just looking at their post-plant situations they had going in that last round that we saw, I mean, it was damn near surgical. I mean, these guys obviously found something that plays into their favor, the way they just kind of executed that. I mean, when you give them more time to play with, when you don't give them as much of a close quarters map, and you give them a lot more time to just kind of really lay something out for them, we can see that they finally had those times to shine, especially looking at John and how he ended up, you know, 10-4. That alone is just a huge factor, 10-5. I mean, somewhere around that alone is just big, knowing that you're going to win most of those gunfights. He finally found his stride, found a way to put himself on the map, and when they needed it most, to go ahead and get themselves back into a tie series.
The boys on EastR clutch up in the S&D. They almost were the victims of their own medicine that they had in map number 1, although they do go ahead and clutch up. So, thus said, map number 1, what was it, like 250, 237? Actually, Sport, do we have the map set right here so we can just go ahead and take a look at it real quick? Perfect. This guy is so sexy. Let me tell you, Sport is the best. But 250, 237 was map number 1 on Apocalypse. And for the side of Nemo, they'd had about a 120-point lead at one point on that map. And although there are a lot of money hills and very difficult hills to break on Apocalypse, where it's very easy to make those comebacks happen, almost comparative to what we would have seen from a Seaside back in Black Ops 4, they do pull it out and get it done in map number 1, but a 6-5 win there in the S&D. We go to a Checkmate Control now, and we will guarantee ourselves a Moscow hardpoint a little bit later on. If there's anything that that I can say about the side of EastR is that, again, I just don't foresee them playing extremely well when it comes down to a hardpoint respawn. So Control basically is a must win right now. And if they even do go to a map number 5 earlier on, folks, we were talking about it yesterday. It was a 6-5 loss, or rather a 6-4 loss in the S&D on Express in a map number 5 for the side of EastR, where they did eventually lose. Another heartbreaking series for themselves that, again, did not help their overall record out. Sure, their map count was, maybe uplifted just a bit from it, but overall just has not helped out whatsoever. So as we go into the Checkmate Control, mid-map control is going to be huge, specifically when we talk the top lane. And if there's anybody that's going to have a good map, and you would hope to have a good map for the side of EastR, it has to be Gravity here. John and Sib, you hope they can tandem for the SMG force and get up the map, get aggressive, and win a couple of rounds for the side of EastR.
Yeah, I think it not only comes down to that mid control, but just finding a way across the map. I mean, with control being very, very kind of up close quarters, you're going to be trying to contest both sides at the same exact time. I mean, it's really a one-way battle. You're trying to get offense, you're trying to get on that site, you're trying to go ahead and capture it. Not only looking at that, though, and looking at the lives and a little bit more time you had to play with, I think EastR, they had the promise to actually pull this out, because with Checkmate being so closely oriented, being a much more linear map, you also have a lot more options to play with both of those sites being so close in relativity to each other. You can easily find a way to one site and the other and just bounce back and forth and keep the defense on their toes where they can't exactly keep up. And if you give EastR at least a little bit of time there in the back on that offensive side, I feel like they could manage something to actually give them that chance for us to get to a map 5.
Checkmate Control tied up 1-1 to take command of the series in this best of 5 between EastR and Nemo. My name is McCormick. Alongside myself is Mick. Archives, Iroll, Perform, and Ramby for Nemo, EastR, Sib, John, Jerd, and Gravity. Both of these teams very hungry here. Both teams desperately needing a win to keep their contention for playoffs alive here. And EastR, shocking how they're 0-3 here inside of Stage 4 after taking Stage 3. Same roster and everything. But as the first blood comes through, Trade is their top lane control for the side of Nemo has come through. And we talk all the time about how important that first set of kills and that first push is for both of the teams on offense and defense. And, well, thus far, it's been the defensive team that has really been able to go ahead and find themselves on top.
Yeah, the Wizards kind of spreading out right now. I gotta say I love what I'm seeing from Nemo. It's not only about those initial pushes, about those initial clears, but it's also about how you answer it. And once you reset these guys, put them back into the edge of the map and make them rethink what they've done, that just gives them a lot more potential to split themselves across the map and be on a little bit more edge. Only issue is that EastR pushing up here a little bit, getting these spawns and grabbing this control from the likes of John with that double kill. I mean, that's the most threatening thing when you're on the side of offense and where exactly you're going to find some opportunity to even breathe.
Archives was trying to play a little bit sneaky over towards A, unfortunately finds his demise from behind, so
Oh my
EastR is
God.
able to go ahead and set up a spawn trap, but my goodness, John on 4 now trying to make it 5.
Oh my
When
God.
John has a good map, EastR plays fantastic, and he's the X factor for what EastR brings
Oh
to the
my
table.
God.
Make it 6 in a row. Go for number 7 while you're at it. Stuck with the 7
Oh, man.
taking off the streak, but the damage is done. EastR has put the side of Nemo back in their spawn, giving them 0 map control, but they can try to climb out of it, but they've got 15 seconds to work towards either A or B. A is going to be the favorable one. If they can go ahead and control the zone, they'll add an extra minute onto the clock, and well, with a 3 stack on the point, at least, I guess, adds a little bit to their bidding, but they've got to find a couple more kills initially anyways.
Yeah, you got to get a couple more guys on that side as well, especially with how slow it's moving right now. It gives EastR a little bit too much time to retaliate, gives them a little bit too much breathing room to answer.
Oh my God!
And with really 3 seconds and John back alive on this A site to retaliate, I mean, you're not going to have a little too much promise going forward. But that alone, I mean, John being there, finding a way onto the side, getting those kills, absolutely going off and creating so much time to kill, just really keeping these guys back in their spawn, absolutely making Nemo the prey that is a small little baby clownfish. I mean, they have to go ahead and grow up and prosper in one way or another when it comes around to this defense to flip the tables and change the tide and really turn it into their favor right now.
Look, you'll take small victories when you can get them, but if you get John going early on in a game at 9-4, you have momentum on your side throughout the entirety of the game, at least for the time being, in what would presumably be the rest of this round. Over towards A on defense, they'll opt to go over towards B, though, on offense, and as Jerd has found himself onto the point, John will find first blood, no surprise there. He'll be traded out, Jerd will fall too, and don't let semblance do it to you. Okay, he gets a kill there, so now it's a good wipe here for the side of Nemo. Now they can push EastR back into their spawn, give them a taste of their own medicine, and this is where the round tends to start to slow down a lot more. When Nemo pushes back up, everybody from the side of EastR gets trapped inside of their spawn. That's when things start to go south, and with Arcez being able to find the third in the row, you've got players streaking from the side of Nemo, 6 in a row in total, but Semtex are going to come around the corner. Just guess who? It's John who finds the kill, but 11 and 5. They've got to make a little bit of noise to get out of their spawn, and thus far they've not been able to do so. 3 players will go down. Gravity, the last one alive, and they're spawning in the back right corner of their spawn.
Yeah, just with how it's kind of laid out right now, they're only shoved towards one side of the map. But getting a break, getting 2 of those picks right now, that would be the best opportunity they have if they can read themselves right. I mean, I see them trying to go for this top plane control. That's not really where you want to be right now. But, you know, it could be a good diversion. Find a little bit more control. Give yourself a little bit more breathing room to play with. But we are going to have to see Gravity go for one of these sites, opting for this A. I mean, that alone, if he get a double here, at least survive, which sadly, unfortunately for him, he doesn't. I mean, they have to just go ahead and give themselves a little bit more to play with, being at 20.9. They have to hold out these sites, or at least grab one at this stage in the game.
Sib finds 2. Jerd gets another, so that should be the A zone, at least for control for EastR in an extra minute on the clock. Gravity yet finds another kill, so they've got a 2, at least, life lead for the time. As Jerd looks over towards P5 to find Zyril pushing out. You've got player number 6 and John capping progress at B. Rather A, excuse me. So, Gravity, the rest of the team, head glitches, headshots, power positions are huge, but as Ramby finds 2, Sib doubles back for a 2-piece of his own. They've got an extra minute on the clock. They wrap back to B, and a 4-life advantage for EastR is going to give them a huge, huge boost of confidence going here on this offensive round. We've seen the trend of offenses really start to come into play on Checkmate when it comes to control, looking to go ahead and the riddle home. EastR in the driver's seat for another round win.
Yeah, the way they just kind of played out those rotations, the way they just kind of played out that whole setup over there on the A side. I mean, obviously, you got to be a little bit confused when you're saying, why not just capture that point a little bit quicker? But if you know you're going to contest it, if you know you're going to be picking off these guys and not even giving them breathing room outside the spawn, which we see EastR just absolutely holding them down to right now, I mean, that's going to play in your favor because you're going to get down to that B site, you're going to try and capture it, and you could have all the time in the world as long as you have a 7 live differential to really give yourself a lot more to play with. And reading this kill feed right now from left to right, red to blue, I mean, these guys are coming for you.
Respawn struggles have been there from EastR all of stage 4. In this best of 5 series, though, they had a close map number 1 where they almost came back 120 points there. But unfortunately, it was a 250-237 victory for the side of Nemo. Folks, if you're just now joining us, EastR 0-3 here inside of stage 4. That is not something you would expect from the likes of EastR after the stage 3 playoff wins. So we take a look at the live from LAG and Trash Bros also in a control. It's a 1 versus 6 here. Mox just in the back, chilling. Trash Bros, they'll take the first round there. Or rather, the second round, excuse me. They'll tie that up 1-1, but as we take our attention back here, Sib with the first blood in the round, John finds 2. Another demanding and commanding start for EastR to a round of control, looking to take it in a 3-0 sweep, give them the advantage to put them up 2-1, then go into a Moscow hardpoint to try and take their first series of Challengers Elite.
And the way they're just kind of allocating themselves right now, a lot of this top plane control, which we obviously have a lot of influence on as casters and just as analytical people, you want to make sure when it really comes down to that site, you want to dominate this. We finally see Nemo having a little bit of an answer to this, getting a bit of picks here and there with Archives of top plane now, kind of flipping the script into their favor overall. But the damage might have been done in this stage because you do see the lives are tied up, but there's only 30 seconds to work with. And you had the likes of EastR already allocating themselves to these sites. I mean, top plane is going to be great on all, but whenever you're down to that 10-second threshold, you got to find something to get onto and you got to make sure to hold it.
Well, they got 3 players over towards A so they can stack this point. If we see anything from what we saw like EastR on that last round where they were on offense, it's going to be entirely possible for them to be able to make something happen. But no, everybody from EastR doubles up. They play it together. It's perfect. Clinical. A retake over towards A. They continue to push them back into their spawn. 15 seconds left. You got 2 players from the side of EastR up and towards top map. That's going to be Civ and Gravity working the north end by A to make sure nobody from Nemo can get on the point. And although they stack it here, at least preliminarily, 17-17. If they cap this now, they've got a lot of opportunity to not only bring this game back, but find themselves over towards B. But there's sneaky little Jerd tries to find the third underperform. They'll get an extra minute on the clock here after he finds Sib. A little 3 spree to sprinkle it on top. That's a cherry to go with it. EastR, although they looked great on the defensive side and were almost able to hold Nemo out, They desperately climb their way back in towards this round, but it's still got to be 2 rounds in a row and then a third if they want to win this control.
Yeah, I think they definitely have enough momentum to really play with going over to this side, because when you do transition from the A to B, not only does it line up alphabetically, it also lines up with the way the map's spread out. You have a lot of kind of edge over there on A side. You have a lot of places to rotate and a lot of different sides to approach this plane to give yourself that top control above this site. And I think they have more than enough, especially with this life differential. I mean, these guys can be breathing easy on this B side as they sit there, because Easter's going to be a little bit shaky trying to make an approach of some sort.
Ramby in the spawn wreaking havoc. Players from the side of Nemo stacking over towards point B. Gravity tries to find a few, and it's Sib there with the Semtex. But a 3 versus 9 would have to be the best comeback here that I've seen in a while, the best clutch. And with nobody being able to push up, everybody stacking the point from Nemo. There it is. Their first round here, and the controller comes on the offensive side. They'll go back to defense, looking to tie things up and force a round number 5. Good news for EastR, at least for the time, is that you have more complete zone captures than the side of Nemo does. So if this does go to a round 5 for whatever reason, you will have the defensive side. But after an offensive collapse like that, do you really want a defense, or would you like to see an offense like you had beforehand? It's a guessing game, and it really just depends on what you're comfortable with and what momentum you have going into that round number 5. Either way, though, Nemo, what can you show us here? Can you force a round number 5? Can EastR go ahead and take it on an offensive round here to force the map number 4 on Moscow, potentially take the series on that map?
Yeah, I gotta say, I think it really comes down to how slow they play this out. I mean, they did a great job when it came around to offense, kind of pacing themselves, you know, getting themselves in a little bit of a scary shoes, kind of when looking at that clock and how they want to allocate themselves across the map and really, you know, throw out what they need to. But, I mean, cutting all spare weight off the sides, they're doing a great job right now, getting into these spawns, playing absolutely just beautiful defense. And not only defending both sides of the map in these sites, but also just defending the entirety of the map, keeping them in the back, which EastR has usually been the main advocate for doing such a thing.
At least right now, Nemo are bidding their case extremely well to force this to a round number 5. EastR, these last 2 rounds just have not seemed like it was all connecting. And it might be because a couple of players have not been stepping up like we might have loved to see them. Sib has not been really having that firepower. John, he was making those great creative plays at the beginning, and he has still been able to do so throughout these last rounds or so. But it slowed down just a bit, performing towards top lane. They're on defense, 15 seconds left. The shots aren't there, and the punch isn't either, but Jerd finds that kill. 3-3 as we go over towards that B site. Arc is out towards top. Emergency somehow doesn't find the kill there. Jerd, shaky, but John helps them out a little bit. 2-2, they trade back and forth. 5 seconds left. Perform there onto John, and that'll seal the round right there. Gravity can't push up the map fast enough to get over towards that B zone. And if he does, he'll be taken out swiftly. There it is. Nemo, they force a round number 5. EastR 2-2 here in the control for series lead. And more importantly, all the momentum in the world. I said beforehand, folks, this is the most important series of the Elite for EastR. And a lead in it could be crumbling right before our very eyes.
And that's just a real shame to see, especially how well they were dominating those first 2 rounds. Not having enough influence where they usually have. John being the guy we were obviously highlighting earlier and the way they were kind of going about across the map. I mean, at this stage in the game, he's more or less running errands from A site to B site back and forth rather than actually just staying in one comfortable spot, which is the enemy spawn, because he's not really racing to it as like he was earlier.
LAG, one of the only 2 undefeated teams left here inside of Stage 4. They're tied in the series 1-1 against the Trash Bros. We'll take you into a live picture-in-picture as the Trash Bros are up 2-1 here inside of the control on the offense. LAG, they have not gotten any progress over towards B, but Mox is pushed up all the way into the spawn for the side of the Trash Bros, looking to find potentially maybe an opportunity to get in towards the point, but it's going to be quite difficult. However, they've gotten themselves on the B. It's starting to get progress. 45 seconds left in that game, but we draw our attention back to the main game. EastR on towards the hard point. Jerd finds 2. Zyral looks for a few, but they've got B secured already off the rip. 2:15 left here inside of game number 3, and A is all there for the taking. A few players pushing up. Sib finds 1. Sib finds 2. Sib almost for 3 in middle map, but Perform finds 2 to trade it out immediately. However, John and Gravity are there. They've got progress starting to tick through on A. Player number 1 around the corner. Where's John, and can he find the kill on the archive? No. Perform slows down the pace that EastR had pushed up the map. They can breathe a sigh of relief here, but still 2 minutes to work with, and the pressure's still on from EastR.
Man, just the way they're kind of pushing this right now, I got to say, I'm finally seeing what they got to bring to the table. They're finally kind of finding some momentum. They're getting some sights. They're getting some control across the map. Name of the game mode, baby. They're finally following suit with what they have thrown out to them, and they have a life advantage to go along with it, getting that momentum in terms of kills, in terms of slaying power, and just finally pushing the map under their influence to where they can give themselves a little bit of leeway. Only issue is they let that A site, the one over there on the edge, slide, and that's going to be a lot harder to take when it's the last one left.
2 lives remaining there for the side of LAG. Couldn't get onto the point in time. Time runs out. Trash Bros with a narrow 3-1 victory in the control. That series will also be going to a map number 4, but a 2-1 lead for Trash Bros has to feel good right now, specifically when you just beat the side of Built by Gamers in a 3-0 in that Best of 5 series. Now about to take out one of the Titans here in Stage 4 if you can win that map number 4. If we know anything about LAG, though, they have the composure to force a map number 5, so we'll just have to see what happens in that series. But in round number 5 here, Zyril shots 4 in a row. They've found themselves with a life advantage now by 2. EastR has struggled to get out of their spawn. Jerd around the corner, can't find the kill. Archives is there. Archives looking for more. Can you find the shots around the corner? Yes, you can. Another one flies on through. Perform is there for the trade. Gravity, Perform, a 1 versus 1. Shots were shaky, but they come through anyways. 45 seconds, 3 lives separate the teams. And it all comes down to 1 or 2 final pushes from EastR.
Yeah, there's not enough middle control right here. Obviously, you want to go in for the edge. You want to rush that side, but you have 40 seconds to play with when in the shoes of EastR. You need to stack it, but you also have to find a way to set this up, give yourself some breathing room to work with it, actually make sure your men can stay alive to stack it. And we're just not seeing enough of that out of EastR right now, with the likes of Zyril just coming in from exactly where EastR needs to be and shutting them down with it.
2 3-pieces back to back. 5-2. John makes it 4-2. Now a 1 versus 4. Sib, can you make the plays? No. Down 0-2. Nemo finds their way back in the control to win it 3 rounds in a row. Lead the series 2-1. And now EastR is on the back foot. They are risking going 0-5, I believe. It's either 0-4 or 0-5 here. 0-4 in the NA Stage 4 Challengers Elite. Oh no.
Oh man.
2 big maps back to back. Wow. Hard to wrap your head around that.
Yeah, and especially, I mean, it's even harder for the shoes of EastR, who's going right back to hard point. I mean, this is what they needed. You could tell they were fighting for it. You could tell they had the momentum shift in their hands, and they were finally finding something that worked for them. And then just the way it flipped up like that, man. I mean, it's disappointing to see.
I mean, it's disappointing in a sense, but like at the same time, like Nemo in map number 1 had a 120-point lead, almost choked it away, but they won by 13 points. In the Search and Destroy, it was another situation where they had a 2-0 lead. They came back, forced a round 11, and then they lost it 6-5. They're inside of the control. They take it 3-2 after being down 0-2. Now on the Moscow hardpoint, folks, if you haven't had a glass of water throughout this series, or maybe taken a seat and just relax and watched all the action. I don't know really how you could be relaxed. I'm on the edge of my seat. I hope you guys are too. But the Moscow hardpoint should not be disappointing to watch. Both of these 2 teams have looked great, but if there is one consistent struggle for one of these 2 teams, it is EastR in their respawns, and it's been apparent throughout the entirety of Stage 4. So while this match is now 2-1, our other match is also 2-1. LAG on the back foot against the Trash Bros. We'll kick it to a quick break, folks, when we come back. The remainder of both of these best of 5 series, and we'll see if EastR can force a map number 5.
If sleep is for the weak, you know where I'll be. Tangled in my head, replaying memories. Close my eyes and pray, some kind of clarity.
probably wondering why I'm beating the dead horse over and over again, with EastR having their struggles throughout the entirety of Stage 4, folks. If you haven't been watching any of, or rather, haven't watched any of Stage 3, and haven't really kept up with any of the Challenger stuff, EastR won the playoffs for Stage 3 in the NA Elite Challenger scene. So, being 0-4, almost 0-5, if they lose this series, is not only extremely significant to show how good the rest of the scene has just become in such a short period of time, but it shows a collapse of the roster of EastR. So as we start out map number 4 here, Nemo will go ahead and get the majority of time, at least through the first 30 seconds. EastR with a contest, but the P2 spawns go to the side of Nemo. And Mick, I've got to ask the question, does EastR have enough potential in the back? Do they have enough firepower to get it done here in map number 4? Because the respawn has been such a struggle.
I mean, even with EastR dying left and right, I mean, it is the day that he rose from the dead. So I feel like they got more than enough to work with to fulfill the prophecy once again and come back in this hard point as we see them grabbing a couple points here and there, finding a little bit of time over here on the site. I mean, it really just comes down to these rotations and how well prepared they are for the ones that are coming up.
Gravity trying to challenge out the back. Ramby is there to shut all that progress down for EastR coming out of the office room for the time being, but in the back, they've kind of just put themselves in a rabbit hole, but they put themselves in a nice amount of cover to where they can go ahead and fight off the opposition trying to push through the front. They shut down every semblance of hope that EastR had. They should be able to get the last, I'd say, about 25 seconds of time, relatively uncontested, specifically if EastR want to set up on that next hard point. And you're going to see player number 6 start to fly out. Player number 4 will follow suit, but as 3 fall down, 15 seconds left on the clock, you have to start thinking about the rotations, and look where EastR spawns. Back PD across the map for the next hard point.
Oh, I mean, it kind of works in their hands whenever you're looking at this next site. Only issue is they didn't really grab enough over there on P2. They're trying to grab scrap ton as best as they can. Only issue is with the way they're locked here in the back, Nemo ready to pounce overall with these frags left and right, really give themselves a lot of breathing room to actually rotate right now. Only issue is when you see EastR and how they're kind of allocate out right now, they're spread out, which isn't exactly best for gunfights, but it is good enough to go ahead and keep a little bit of disruption and grab these first couple seconds on this next side.
Gravity wisely backs off to challenge with the rest of the team. Ramby will find the shot there on the Sib, but more importantly, it's really not going to work out all that much because realistically, it's going to set up a pinch play here, but how long is it going to take for the pinch to come through and actually get this hill time? Maybe you're going to be left with about 20 seconds of time, and that'll be good to put your lead back in at least a little bit of a safe spot. But EastR are rotated towards the next hard point. So you got player number 8 here in Sib, and he loses a... How does a 74U win that gunfight? I will never know. But that's just Sib being Sib.
But overall, I mean, just talking about how these guys are exactly playing it out right now. I got to say, that whole pinch, that whole kind of long detour route they took, it was kind of worth it, especially looking at the scoreboard right now, how close it is. I mean, as long as you're fine making that sacrifice at this closer stage where the maps are pretty close, you're not losing too much. You're not letting a lead become that much larger. You're not forced into a situation where you're having to pick up every single second, and it's paid off for them. Not exactly able to get around to P4, which is kind of unfortunate for the side of Nemo, but the way they're kind of following this up, they are going to be able to lock down P1 a lot more efficiently with that rotation from the inside middle map.
So with the shots there under archives, we'll go ahead and find his demise. So with about 25 seconds left, this will probably be one of the last contests here from the side of Nemo, pending they, try to rotate back towards middle map. But with Gravity playing his life around the corner here, Perform's gonna go. Well, I was gonna say Perform should find the kill, but Gravity makes a spectacular hero play there, saves basically all the time here in terms of the scraps. But as we look back to middle map, Mick, the thing was, EastR gave up so much time on the contestion trying to play for P2 and then eventually lost it. And now they're going to do the same thing here, trying to get contestion here, but where do they need to play to make sure that the side of Nemo can't push through for those spawns while they hold down middle map?
They need to be playing the outsides, and we obviously see two of these guys. We see John doing a great job holding it on the outside, finding a way to also be close enough for these rotations to follow up on the site. We also have to look at who the heck is actually going to counter archives here in the back. Jerd probably going to be the first one to run into him, but it really comes down to whoever wins that to set up for the next, and Jerd having no eyes on archives. I think that alone, if he approaches this right, there could be an easy little rug swept out from under him, which could easily give them this next side if need be.
In the back, slowly playing. Jerd doesn't want to give up any positioning to the opposition, but they don't even know that archives is behind them. He needs to play this patiently. He needs to wait for his teammates to push up the map, and he spots out John in the back. I don't think Jerd got the call out. No, he didn't. Archives will find the shots there, finds the kill, and that's going to be the huge first piece of the puzzle to getting in towards point number 3. That's going to be the spawns in the back there for the side of Nemo. And a beautiful play all around. Archives plays his life. Zyral with the kill in towards Checkers, and now Archives able to stay alive with his life somehow here in towards point number 2. This is a fresh 45 seconds of hill time that they could get all for themselves, pending they find these first initial kills. But as we see a picture-in-picture pop up on our right side of the screen, 237, 121, LAG have fallen behind so significantly. And the Trash Bros, they're just 12 seconds away from taking the raid hardpoint and the series, knocking LAG down to their first loss here inside of Stage 4. Folks, it's day 2, but the action is just heating up. So much more to cover on youtube.com/COD Challengers throughout the entirety of North American Challengers Elite Stage 4. And as the seconds tick off the clock, they'll try to get their last few pushes in towards the basketball court. And although they'll get in for a little bit of time with just 6 seconds left, we'll keep an eye on that for the last few seconds on the Trash Bros. But that game is just about over. Meanwhile, EastR and Nemo, we're just heating up here because EastR's trying to be on the rotation over towards point 3, and they will be. They're down by 6 points with 3 minutes left on the game clock.
Man, just how they're kind of setting this up. I love this corner play, the way they're kind of holding this out. Only issue is Archives has a lot of influence moving in towards that side, being in the back. He has so much room to play with, forcing Jerd out, and that could have been the time they really made the infiltration. Only issue is getting that triple kill across the board, that whole kind of squad wipe. EastR's going to maintain that influence as best as possible. Meanwhile, we're also going to see Trash Bros being closing out this game.
Yep.
It really makes you wonder whether or not, you know, they name themselves because they like to have a little joke of them, you know, being trash, or whether they're the ones who were taking it out. So, I mean, that's going to be more into question over the course of the season, but it's really up to their destiny. But right back to here, I mean, I got to say, EastR really stepping it up and exactly finding their stride that they've been looking for and that they lost there for a little bit when it came around to control.
For the Trash Bros, that's a statement win. Huge, taking down, again, one of the juggernauts here inside of Stage 4 in LAG. We expect them to do great things as playoffs start to come around, but as Zyral finds the kill there onto Jerd, he's going to lay down in towards the hard point. John trying to hop up here through gold. Should be able to find the kill, but I think he just survived with maybe 1 HP right there.
Way.
Siv's
No
going to hop out.
chance.
Zyral finds the shots. Rambeat with the trade there onto Gravity. The contest fest will start with about 35 seconds separating these two teams at the current time. Perform will find himself in towards the hard point with ARs locking down the lane over the top. Gold being controlled by the side of Nemo. Jerd finds a huge one-on-one. 30 seconds left on point number 4 before we get to our third set of rotations.
And I got to say, the way EastR, they're really holding this out. Only issue is Nemo, they're just not putting enough pressure onto this site right now. With all these ARs that are being lined up across the street, we don't exactly see enough too high influence right now for these guys to be getting these, you know, really edgy picks to give them that upper hand. But only with that all kind of considered, you do only have 8 seconds left. He's just going to have to look for a rotate, and Nemo just holding down the line a lot better. And we've seen them so far doing a great job of either holding time or contesting it, because EastR's never got, you know, more than 20 seconds on this first site. So I think Jerd's going to be looking for a rotate here and trying to cash in on the next one.
Perform. Shots. Not there for the kill. Archives will win a huge one there with a 74U around the corner. A double challenge comes in. They get 15 seconds of time. But more importantly, EastR finds themselves in the middle of the hard point where Nemo basically thought that they had a full 60 seconds almost locked down with the setup that they had on it, folks. Storyline implications here for this best of 5 series. EastR with a win on Moscow forces a map number 5 on Express, where they lost the only round, they lost the only game 5 that they have played beforehand. The S&D, though, over the side of Nemo, has looked stellar. EastR has struggled in the respawn department, but here, instead of the hard point, they're looking good thus far. Hopefully I didn't just jinx that for him, but Perform in the back finds 2, the rotations, and potentially the spawns to go around with it. And as we see players number 5 and 7 spawn over towards point number 3, the last kill over towards P-Through comes through. Nemo, 60 seconds to work with. You've just got to keep EastR out the front.
Yeah, and these guys really just got to make a shove somewhere, somehow. And obviously Perform holding in the line, doing a great job of it, but it was more of buying time as we do see the rest of these guys making infiltration from the side. Nobody really capitalizing off that from the street, but overall they could make a move somewhere here or there. We see a lot of these teams pushing from the left side over there towards where you generally see the P3 rotation. But Archives, he's just having none of it. I mean, this man is just shutting everybody down, and they really have this back just completely shut out right now. And I think if you're in the shoes of EastR, you have a little bit of a lead. You only have about 20 seconds left. Get a man to contest and just go ahead and start looking at those rotates, man.
You want to look at the rotates, but you also want to look for Zyral, who's on 4. 27 and 17, a minute 40 seconds in the hill, leads the way of all players in the lobby. But more importantly, his team has been a huge key factor of why Nemo now has the lead and has been able to make this comeback on the side of EastR. Perform through the front door, finds the shots and the kill onto John. Gotta find the shots on the Sib, but Zyral is there once again. Makes it 5, make it 6 in a row. Can you look for John in the library? Shots are there, make it 7. The artillery barrage, potentially the cruise missile to follow suit. And as he finds 3 in a row, gets himself to 30 kills. Nemo needs 15 seconds. There it is. Oh my goodness, almost went for 9. But now as Nemo are in the hard point, EastR try to break back in, and they will do so for the time. Both teams can still win off at this point, but here comes the artillery barrage. The cruise missile might follow in tow after the fact, but that's a huge first pick in the push back over towards the hard point. Gravity around the corner, Perform, trying to sneak on in. You've got to use the cruise missile here because with 15 seconds left, you don't want them getting any more time. Number 1 won't be able to fall. Can you curve it into the library? The answer is no, but you've got players pushed up onto the hard point. 10 seconds can get them the win. John is there. Everybody there. Perform. You've got shots on the 1. Sib with the contest saves the game for the side of EastR, but it won't be for long unless Jerd can find 2 here towards the hard point. There it is. Nemo.
Wow.
Map number 4, a crazy comeback victory. EastR falls to 0-5 here in stage 4. While the side of Nemo, once again, makes their own statement win in map number 4.
The guys, they are boys all grown up. Not only did we find Nemo, but they seem to have found themselves. Because, I mean, just the way they kind of played this out in all seriousness, it was a rocky start for them. They didn't have too much going for them. They didn't exactly have too much momentum. We saw them doing a great job when it came around to the hard point, but when in terms of search and in terms of control, they were slacking a little bit. But, I mean, it was a strong finish for them. There's a lot of retaliations. That streak, literally, I got to say, those streaks won the game. No shot that happened without the streaks besides a miracle. Absolutely. And I got to say, I mean, usually we like to call them EastR miracles, but we saw it for the other side today. So, I mean, overall, I mean, that's just kind of a big factor, and you have to consider the importance and the kind of influence those things have in the match. Either play it a little bit slower, find some time to contest, because these guys, when we saw EastR in this last couple seconds, they were obviously going for picks, but you got to realize you and another guy can be living on that site and nobody's getting those points. But if you go ahead and try and engage, those 2 points are going to be great, but I mean, you need to prioritize stopping them in those shoots.
Well, I hate to say it, but I might have jinxed the side of EastR just a little bit there.
Good God.
I apologize. That's on me. My bad. But I will say, talking about Zyral before that streak, I was like, okay, a 4 spree, he's not going to do much more than that. And then all of a sudden, he makes it 8, almost makes it 9, earns both those streaks. And again, you talked about how influential that was, but realistically speaking, I mean, that was just like, oh my God. We still got a game 5. That's the thing. We still have a game 5 in this series. So like, look, I'm gonna screw it up there. I definitely said that EastR would go to 0-5. That was, that was me, right? I don't know. Maybe I'm just stupid. Maybe I'm the stupid one. I don't know. What is happening? What is that sport? Can you give me a little bit of sanity here? Because my mind is all over the place right now. That was the 3-1, right? Okay, yeah. That was okay, yeah. Okay. You said I heard Maps ready, so I got kind of scared right there for a second, but okay.
I was excited. Are you kidding me? Express?
We're all good.
Let's run it anyways. Let's go for it.
That game got my mind going all over the place, but I mean, Mick, like realistically speaking, Nemo is a good team. EastR is a good team. EastR with the struggles in hardpoint, although it wasn't all that apparent inside of that series. There was a couple moments where chokes had come in, but look, 0-5 inside of stage 4 does not bid well after winning the stage 3 playoffs. They can still maybe, it's a long shot, but maybe make the playoffs here inside of stage 4, but there's a lot of speculation that I have in my mind right now about what has caused the entire breakdown in the transition from just stage 3 to 4, but it remains to really have an answer to it. And I don't want to, sit here and be like, oh, we might be talking about roster changes and stuff like that, because that's just way too far of speculation for a couple of games that haven't gone their way. Look, it's 5 games in 2 days. You can't fix an empire overnight. And that's the biggest takeaway for me for the side of EastR. They have a couple of struggles, but they can figure it out. And I guarantee they will before anything further comes on, because these guys have been playing together for so long.
Yeah, and I think really what it comes down to is that was just a well-needed lesson for the likes of EastR. I mean, obviously, seeing how well and how dominant they were in the past, I mean, by no means have they fell off. They still give us games. They still give us a lot of close runs. We saw that in every single game today. We saw it in every single map.
Yeah.
I mean, we never really saw them get shut out. Only issue is there's just a little things here and there that they really have to tweak. They have to go back and watch. They have to do probably a little bit more studying than actual practicing when it kind of analyzing what teams they got and that they're going up against, because these guys are going to be playing a completely different game as we see new maps come into the rotation, see a lot new metas evolved. I mean, really, when it comes around to strategies, it's a big old game of rock, paper, scissors. You need to have as big an arsenal as possible and find a way to counter whatever gets thrown at you and react to it a little bit better. So, I mean, I feel like EastR, as long as they can just quicken themselves up a little bit, get faster on the reading of what's coming at them, they have more than enough to retaliate and answer it. They just need to know what's coming.
Yep. As I said beforehand, that was EastR's biggest series of Stage 4. And unfortunately, they aren't able to force map number 5. With that being said, folks, that's our final match here on the community stream. A lot more action here for Stage 4 of NA Challengers Elite. But that's going to be it for the community stream for tonight. My name is Ben McCormiel on the production sport. Over there is Mick. Fetty's there too. It's been a great night. Thanks to IHOLDSHIFT for the YouTube channel and all that kind of stuff. You know, we kind of crashed the party here tonight, but it's okay. It's all cool. And as I said beforehand, folks, youtube.com/COD Challengers. That's where you can find everything for Challengers Elite and just Challengers in general. But as I said beforehand, that's going to do it for tonight. Stay safe, guys. Have a great night. We'll see you the next time on the community broadcast.
Time has stopped, by your whisper calm and soft. The daylight shines through corrupted lies. Are you breaking into my brain? I live that glory ray, feeling wash my soul. Now your everything is clear. I keep calling back, 'cause I want to know if you're everything, everything is real. Face to face, so different but the same. Are we sane? So familiar yet so strange. I dive in you.